The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey.
What?
Let's go!
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for.
McAfee on the line with a gorgeous assist.
The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers.
You ping!
Stutter! Damn it!
Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to our humble abode, the Thunderdome. On this NFL Cut Day Tuesday, August 27th, 2024, this program starts now.
Football!
He's the greatest, and we can't thank you enough for allowing us to do this for a living. There's a lot to talk about today. About 1,000 people, 948, 950, 930, maybe 980, depending upon the number of who does what. Anyways, a lot of cuts have to happen today. Spotrac reporting 948. Other people will say 1,000 because some people are going to get cut from two teams. Ooh. Some people are actually going to be at 4 o'clock today on a roster. They're going to think that they made a team, but instead tomorrow, guess what? They're cut. Why? Because another team cut somebody that they like better, and you're gone. There's going to be movement around all 32 NFL teams on this glorious day, and we'll try to cover it all as it happens. Some big names are going to be moved. For instance, Mary Kay Cabot of the Cleveland Dealer, I believe, just tweeted that DTR has been informed that he's making the team, so he'll be Deshaun Watson's backup. So what does that mean? Well, Jameis Winston and Snoop Huntley, allegedly, on the trade block. Whoa. Those are two very accomplished quarterbacks who are very well known. Will they get traded by the end of today's show or by 4 o'clock? We shall see. Dalvin Cook's going down to Dallas to see if the Dallas Cowboys want to sign. He looks absolutely jacked. Yep. What does that mean for the Dallas Cowboys? We shall see. There's a lot of things that are about to take place over the next 4 hours because teams need to get down to the number that they have to have going into the regular season. Now, is that good news or bad news for your team? Are you going to learn anything today? I think so. I think there's a lot to chat about. We will certainly do that for the next couple hours right here on ESPN2.
Oh.
The Deuce.
Okay. Hell yeah.
Kind of becoming our new home.
It is a little bit.
Love Little League World Series into U.S. Open. Love to drop right into the Deuce. We're lucky to be here. Tried to watch the U.S. Open yesterday. I didn't know anybody. Am I going to know people in this tournament?
Djokovic was actually 9:45 last night. He started. So
9:45?
Yeah, it was a late one. It was a late one.
In America?
Yes.
It's called the U.S. Open?
It is.
Why are we putting him on at 9:45?
Good question. He beat the piss out of some guys.
Oh, I bet he did. That's appointment television. I'll stay up for the joke or anything like that. But I was watching in primetime. I had no idea who anybody was. And I saw the ball go back and forth. I was like, wait a second, Monday Night Raw's on. Then I went over there.
Sure.
But I do appreciate the fact that the U.S. Open's taking place. We'll have some sports to chit-chat about. Sorry to Braun Strowman for what happened to him. He got tsunami through the top of a car last night.
That's absurd.
And then there were some sparks flying in the car. I don't know what the hell happened in there, but something bad, obviously, when you got that much meat going through a car. There's going to be some insanity. But we'll talk about everything today. We've got Michael Lombardi joining us in about 13 minutes. Obviously, he's been a part of a lot of cut days from the old days where there was like 3 cuts, then there was like 2 cuts. Now there's just one big one where everybody gets fired at the same damn time. It used to be a rollout of cuts because you could make the first cuts. Now there's a little bit of hope, a little bit of dream. But then your roster would change whatever their first cuts would make because all of a sudden they're looking at the waiver wire everybody else, so you would lose people. There'd be a lot of change. Then the second cut, I make the second cut, but I didn't make the final cut. Now it's just one big-ass cut. Want to get eyes on everybody, more joint practices. Today's a big day. Today's the day where some people are going to realize that everything they've worked for their entire life was worth it. And they made an NFL team.
Congrats.
For 1 week.
Right.
Mm-hmm. For 1 week. Mm-hmm. Maybe even one day.
Ooh.
But then there's going to be some people that are going to realize they're probably going to be selling insurance or coaching football after today, and that's not bad either. The fact that you even got into an NFL camp, had a cup of coffee with an NFL helmet on, you should be incredibly proud. Not everybody's going to make it, but who does? We'll talk about all day. The Talks Table is here. At Boston Connor, at Ty Schmidt. Great shirt. Let him run, pal. Let him run.
Yeah, one of the favorites. I figure, since it is such a bad news day, I'd wear one of my favorite shirts just to, feel a little better.
No, it's good news. Good news. Good news. Dreams are coming true today. Dreams are coming true. Dreams are getting slaughtered. Dreams are coming true today. Dreams are coming true.
Yeah, it's just I knew that the day was coming where Zip on the ball Zappy was no longer going to be a New England Patriot, and I'm bummed out about that. I truly am, and I know he'll find another home because he was beloved in the locker room, and like his name says, God can spit.
zip it almost.
He can zip it. I mean, the Vikings are probably calling him right now.
Well, the Vikings are certainly going to be in the hunt, people think, for a good backup quarterback or even a starter, especially with some of the names that are going to become available from around the NFL. Let's go to one half of the hammer. Dahn. Cowboys, Tone Diggs with a brand new cowboy hat, looking extra thin and
Appreciate that.
crispy on this particular day. Are we going to learn anything about the Pittsburgh Steelers today or anything that you think we should talk about?
No, I mean, their roster is pretty settled in. Maybe who the third quarterback is going to be, something like that. But and who they're going to take more O linemen, D line, whatever. No, they're pretty set. Not a lot of questions there. But I am interested to see the quarterbacks move the needle.
There's going to be a quarterback market all of a sudden built today.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be a quarterback market that gets built, and we're going to chat about it. And there's going to become a fan base that doesn't have a player on their team today that might in the next couple of days have no one be like, yep, we're going to win a Super Bowl. We're going to win a Super Bowl. That's all we needed was one piece at the right position. We got it. Bang, we're going to win the Super Bowl. See a lot of these old heads, too, that maybe weren't around. Now it's time to see where teams lie, what teams need. We'll talk to Lombardi about that, obviously. We got Kirk Herbstreit in the second hour. College football season is off and running. Week 0 had it was up like 31% from last year or something. 5 million viewers, I think, on Florida State, Georgia Tech. It was a phenomenal game, great product. Lucky to be there. Ireland, once again, phenomenal host.
The best.
Congratulations to Dublin and to Ireland for that entire thing. We'll talk to Kirk about that. In the third hour, 2:05-ish, we got Tony Smoke Stewart joining us.
Go, Smoke.
Yeah.
Big announcement coming. Big announcement coming from Smoke and his drag racing NHR team. Can't wait to talk about that. And then George Kittle will join us at 2:35. Can't wait. I think he's making a team. in the San Francisco 49ers. 9-year NFL vet, one of the biggest brains in town, any town he goes to. Darius J. Butler is here. D-Butt. Cut day is obviously a massive day. Dreams are coming true.
Yeah.
You were a second-round pick?
Yep.
Second-round pick, so you knew you were making a team.
Uh-huh.
You kind of knew you were making a team. For me, pick 222. I was in a punting competition with Tim Mastay, who was certainly a better punter than me at that time. Whenever he got released before, I think, our first preseason game, or maybe our second preseason game, I forget what it was kind of handed off for me to be the guy. Mm-hmm. And they wasted a draft pick on a punter, so a lot of people told me I was safe. But I was having some days of practice where I was like, I don't know if I'm safe. And so when that last cut day came, a lot of kickers and punters were getting released from teams. When I found out I made the team, I was ecstatic. I was so pumped. I was so thankful. I thought about my journey. I mean, it was like a full moment for me to take in. But then really the work just begins. Oh, yeah. For you, was there ever a time during those cut days where a perspective was put in place because you have lunch with a guy and then all of a sudden you go to a meeting and then he's cut and you never see him again? That's the first time a lot of these rookies have to deal with any of this type of stuff.
Yeah, it's tough because, you come from college where you're going to have your class there for 4 or 5 years. You build that brotherhood and then you get into the league and you realize how much of a business it is. When you get drafted or signed, somebody else has to come out that door. I think when I got drafted, they traded like Ellis Hobbs, maybe that first, as soon as I got drafted, they traded Ellis Hobbs.
Hell
so,
yeah.
It's always a numbers game. And being a second round pick, I still didn't know at that point. So I'm, like Bill was talking about yesterday, you're hearing your family, you're calling agents, like, I had a bad day. He's like, hey, you're good. You can trip over the 50-yard line every play and you're going to make the team, but you'll be good. But the second year, kind of struggled my second year, even as a second round pick. And then going into that third year, I was released. And then the year after that, went to Carolina, they claimed, so I don't know if people know this, but based on your draft position, they have basically first first in the pecking order, the team draft position. So the Panthers were the worst team the previous year, so a few teams claimed me, but the Panthers got my rights, played there for a year, got cut again. So as a second-round pick, it was back-to-back years going into my third year where I had been cut and then found a home in Indy where I came here with Chuck. And
once you have 2 picks first day of practice?
Oh, yeah. It lit
we were so happy.
it lit that fire under your ass. So it is a rough day for a lot of players. But at the same time, you got to keep working and keep being prepared for that opportunity when it does present itself. I found a home. A lot of people get cut. Kenny Moore, I think he got cut from the Patriots.
Yep.
Found his home in Indianapolis, just signed another big deal this offseason. So it's never really the end of that story until it's the end. You keep working and you keep finding, keep working, keep grinding. And my third time, Grigson at the time, I sat down with Grigson. He was like, hey, I remember you when you were coming out. How are you coming out? I think he was with Philly at the time. But he was like, hey, this probably is going to be your last opportunity, your last real opportunity. Because when you're a high pick, you get more opportunities just based on your draft position, your expectations and talent and all that stuff. So I came in and I'm like, all right, if I go out, I'm going to go out my way. So I took more chances. I studied more. And you kind of become a pro. You learn things. And then it was a lot of things that I didn't like about my first stint in New England that once I got to year 3, year 4, I kind of realized, okay, that's why they do these things. That's why the practice is this way. That's why you prepare this way. So you get a different perspective as you get older. But a lot of times, a lot of people don't get those type of chances. So I was fortunate. But to the people out there, man, it's not the end. Keep working. It is a tough day. It's a great day for a lot of players who get that call and say, hey, you made the 53.
I'm pretty pumped that they both cut you as you ended up in Indianapolis. I mean,
Me
tough
too,
days.
me too.
Yeah. I am very pumped. First day you got to, I think you had 2 picks in your first practice, and me and Vinatieri were like, we fucking got it.
Finally.
We got a guy. This is it. And then, obviously, you fit into the locker room so well, so quickly. And, everybody learns and adjusts their, like for me, I got arrested. And then immediately after that is when I started having success because life got put into perspective very quickly, which I think cut day does for people. You kind of start realizing, like, wait, I did not have a backup plan my whole life. All I had was football. But to your point, UFL still exists, right? UFL still giving a lot of jobs. CFL still giving a lot of jobs. Teams have more practice squad spots than they've had in the past because of COVID. It's not over for everybody, but some of you need to look in the mirror and realize it probably is.
Yeah.
You kind of, once you get to that to this level, you realize it's a different ball game really quick. You got to bring it. You got to bring it every day. You got to bring it every year because even as you get older in the league, you start to pay attention to the draft a little more. You start to pay attention to who's going where. And as you mentioned, it's going to be a lot of guys hitting the street today at 4 o'clock. So as you mentioned with these other teams, hey, I'm thin in your line. It becomes a numbers game. So it's not that a lot of times it's not that you're not good enough to make a team, but hey, we got some injuries at wide receiver, we got some injuries at corner. That team let go of Allen Robinson's available now. Maybe we're bringing Noah Brown just got released from the Texans, who had a good year last year.
Hodgins.
He'll probably get picked up somewhere. Hodgins, you saw Malik Willis, he's now the backup in Green Bay. So it'll be a lot of moving parts. Jameis, who
potentially available, which is crazy to think about, especially with everything that's been coming out positive with him in Cleveland. He said we and us to Cleveland in his interview with us like 15 times.
Staple.
And now Mary Kay, who's been covering the Cleveland Browns forever. So more names coming out, more things potentially, more players available for teams to get better overnight. I just think man, if you sign somebody, like if the Minnesota Vikings go out and sign somebody, and I know Sam Darnold's going to be great, okay? But if they sign like a big name court, let's say Jameis or let's say Snoop.
I mean, I was going to say he's a Pro Bowler.
Snoop Huntley made a Pro Bowl a couple years ago. Like, your fan base gets reinvigorated again. It's like, hold on, wait a minute, we can actually make this. But if you're a player that's potentially sitting on the edge of the bubble, you want to see as little talent as possible hit the
position.
I want everybody to be cropped that gets waived or gets cut. Because to your point about the numbers game, we'd have a linebacker or something that was very good at special teams, rookie. Like, I would like this guy to be on my teams or whatever. They're like, well, we got good linebackers. We don't have a lot. Somebody just got hurt in the corner room. So we're going to have to go sign somebody. And this guy who's a good linebacker, potentially going to make team, going to get cut just strictly because we're only allowed 53 people, and he happens to be the last one in that particular room. It's like, so you could see how so many people who are very good at football their entire life get jaded at the end of their football career because there is numbers games that happen and people never really get an opportunity. There is an injury that takes place maybe in training camp. Maybe there's one game where you were told to do the wrong thing and you get exposed, so on film you look bad. And all you're wondering for the rest of your life is what if. And that sucks for people. And today, some of those what if moments start for some people. But on the flip side, Hall of Famers are making a team for the first time today. That is not walk-ons, but you get it. Undrafted guys have made a team, made a Pro Bowl, made the Hall of Fame. There's a chance that one of those stories happens today. It could be on your team. Could be on your team. Will probably be on one of my teams. There is what?
I mean, probably not. But, I mean, when you're talking about New England, probably.
Terry Brackett, one of the greatest of all time, straight out of Rutgers. What do you
For the Steelers, the guy out of West Virginia, Beanie Bishop, who's undrafted, who's going to be the starting nickel, I think, who's going to make the 53 today.
I cannot believe he was undrafted, by the way. Made a lot of plays for the West Virginia Mountaineers. Can't wait to get down there on Friday. That should be an absolute.
Was Victor Cruz undrafted?
Yeah. Hard Knocks helped propel him into the stratosphere.
Huge preseason game. First Super Bowl champ.
Hey, good luck to all the players, and congrats. And thank you for your commitment to football throughout your entire life if you don't make a team, and still great sport, taught you a lot of things. You have a head start on everybody else because you did play football. Mentally, they got you. Physically, you'll be able to take care of yourself. You just need to apply everything from the world of sport and football into your regular life if you are done. And if you're not done, hey, good luck and go take advantage of the opportunity. You're getting a head start on everybody with the amount of money you're about to make for playing a kid's sport. Kid's sport, king's ransom. Chuck McConnell used to say it all the time. Get to, don't have to. And it's like, well, a lot of people are getting to make money off of this. So we should be as well in this entire thing. Documentary was released via Netflix, Untold. It was Connor Stallion's story. It was quite a buzz around the internet this morning. It's an hour and 27 minutes long, so we didn't get a chance to watch the entire thing as we're piecing together this morning's shows, but clips were coming out. And I think the reaction that I've seen thus far, and correct me if I'm wrong, is if you were Harbaugh's a piece of shit, he definitely knew type of person before this documentary, it solidified it. Seemingly, this is the reaction that we're reading on the internet. And if you think Harbaugh did not know and Connor Stalions was a rogue agent, you feel that way even more after watching it.
For sure.
Correct.
I will say, as somebody who has listened to Harbaugh speak about this entire process and watch how he reacted to this entire process, and now he's continued to maintain his innocence about not knowing what was taking place and how it was taking place, I don't think Harbaugh knew. I have not watched the hour and 27. I will do that this evening, so I might come in tomorrow with a different story. But from the clips that I've seen, this Connor Stalions guy was committed to the Michigan Wolverines.
That's one word.
I mean, what are you saying?
I mean, he was committed, but he's some other
psychopath, obsessive,
obsessive. Yeah. I mean, but hey, that's what the greatest are, right? That's what it takes. Tom, MJ, Tiger, we all
Stallions. Of course, you got to be obsessed with your craft, which Connor Stalions certainly was. There's one particular clip that I think kind of showcases why Connor Stalions' name was mentioned, brought up, and became a massive story. And it took place while he was getting interviewed by the NCAA, I believe, with his lawyers sitting right next to him. It's a longer scene, but here's the part that basically says, yes, I did what everybody kind of was saying that I did.
Connor, did you ever direct anyone or instruct anyone to attend a college football game in which Michigan was not playing?
No, I don't ever recall directing someone to go to a game.
Have you ever purchased tickets for someone to attend a college football game in which Michigan was not playing?
Yeah, I've purchased tickets to many games. College football, obviously Michigan's playing, so I don't have time to go to another game, but I either resell them, or if a friend asks for a ticket, then I transfer it to him or her.
Okay. And would any of those tickets that you purchased that you would then transfer to a friend or a family member, did any of the individuals who you purchased a ticket for attend a game that Michigan was not competing in?
Checklist.
And film or record the opponent's signal callers?
So to my understanding, there are some people who attended games using tickets that I purchased and recorded parts of those games.
It's my understanding.
And who are the individuals that recorded parts of the games that were sitting in seats that you purchased?
I don't recall exactly who. I've purchased tickets to a lot of games.
How do you know they were recording parts of the game then?
Because sometimes I would receive film from them.
I've had a friend send me film, and it's kind of like when your aunt gets you a Christmas present that you already have.
Sure.
You're not going to be rude and be like, oh, I already have this, I don't need it. You know, just, oh, thanks, appreciate it. You know, feel like they're helping out or whatever when I already have the signals. I already memorized the signals. I mean, so just say thanks, whatever, you know.
I mean, all of it is very interesting. He was very open in it all, and obviously that recording was done from the research that the NCAA was gathering while they were doing what they were trying to do and figure out what the punishment's going to be. And obviously we've heard and been told by the authority that's probably going to be a massive financial litigation through it all. But if you listen to him speak there, you could tell he was trying to out-lawyer the lawyers, to my understanding. And then he said, yes, they have sent me film and yada, yada, yada. And you would think to yourself, well, somebody was telling him to do this, right? It's like, not necessarily. Here's another clip from this thing. This guy was obsessed with being the greatest sign decipherer of all time. And you say, why do you know, or how do you know he's obsessed with it? Listen to what this fucking guy would do. I mean, this guy wanted to be the greatest sign decipherer, is what he would describe. And I believe his obsession with that led him to I think he got trapped into, I'm the greatest of all time.
Need to do this.
Listen to this clip and watch what he would actually do. Thousands of signs he said he would do this to.
The first thing that I evolved that made me good at deciphering signals was my game day sheet. I took a couple weekends. I found a white wall as the background, and I wore dark clothes to contrast.
Smart.
I propped my phone up, and just recorded myself doing every possible signal I could ever imagine. Any signal I've ever seen, any signal that we've done, any signal any other team's done, and any variation of any signal. So I recorded myself doing probably 2,000 to 3,000 signals. When I was done, I uploaded each photo into my sheet where it belonged. I developed my own database, which is the next evolution of my game day sheet. Instead of memorizing words, I was memorizing pictures. And I would say that is the #1 reason why I became as good as I did at deciphering signals.
You're talking about thousands of signals he would piece together on his game day board. Instead of, play calls or words, he would just put, obviously, the signs. So then he's watching across the thing. He knows exactly what it is. He's quite a weapon all of a sudden for the Michigan Wolverines as somebody who was in military as opposed to growing up playing in football and coaching in football. And I think what you're hearing in the reaction from everybody is, obviously, this guy was really obsessed with this.
Yeah.
He was committed to this more than anybody else on earth. But let's listen to Coach T. Mitch here, defensive coordinator for the Arkansas Razorbacks. And if you do recall, he's the one that freestyled in front of the team, and they all said, yeah, coach, in the middle of it, had them all bought in. Here's what he had to say about sign stealing. Once again, remember, dog on the football field as a player, now defensive coordinator in college.
Oh, a lot. Like, it's so funny. You'll be shocked. During the week, I know offense all around the country. They're going to get the TV copy, and they looking at the signals. Yeah, just one person. That's your only job. Look at the signals. And then, boom, we can't get the defensive signals. Okay, well, let's see what the defensive players are signaling. Then they'll try to get it that way. So they got different ways. I remember we played Louisville, and he was really good. And I saw the TV copy, and I could just see the whole time. He's just like this, just watching. And then at halftime, they got the signals. So we played him the next year. I was at UCF. We played him that next year, and I got his contact, and I called him. Like, hey, man, I need to. And he sent me the whole thing. He said, this is what we had. And it was like 80% correct. So we had to change our signals because they just pass it around. So they're just sending it to the next. So we played SMU and Rhett Lashley to them, and they had the same signals. I wasn't mad that he sent it around. I would have been mad if we didn't change it. So it's huge, like just signals, and it's perfectly legal. I know teams right now that have 2 guys on the field because you usually have them in the box. So all the times you see a lot of these teams behind the actual team, they pull out these big curtains behind it. If it wasn't important, they wouldn't be doing it. 80% of the teams in America, when they signal, they pull out the big curtain behind so the guys in the press box can't get them. Well, they done smarten up. They done put them on the field. So they got 2 guys, and they just sit here and try to get it. So you got to have ways of hiding your signals, So you can always know, like, when a play happens, you go, hey, man, they got our signals. Because it's just like a perfect play. You just know. All over college football. So that's not, it's nothing new. It's not one of those deals where it's like, unethical or something like that. Like, they do it. If you're crazy enough to keep the same signals, that's on you.
That's Coach T. Will. I call it T. Mitch. That's 100% on me. But Coach T. Will basically breaking down, I think, what every former player had to say about the sign stealing. I think why the Connor Stallions thing happened is because the advanced scouting rule that was in place. And I think if you were to watch this untold entirely, he's saying that he exploited the rules. Like, I wasn't at the game. There was no coaches at the game. It was other people. Were they family friends? So I didn't know some of the people that were there. But sign stealing has been happening since the beginning. The conversation now from the coach to the quarterback and the ability to call into play to the Mike linebacker, they're obviously still going to use signs. But this entire thing of signal stealing is a weapon if you have a guy that's very good at it on your team. And Connor Stallions might have been the guy who was considered the greatest of all time, which leads me to saying that Harbaugh could literally not know that he was paying people or buying tickets and sending people going forward. Harbaugh could have definitely thought to himself, though, I got a good sign stealer on my sideline because every team has been looking for those since signs have been given in any sport, seemingly.
Yeah, like Coach said, like Coach T. Will said, you got to change them. And at the same time, this is going to be quad. It's like, these are going to be seams. Like, it's certain thing. Brady had a signal he would go like this, and that meant the outside receivers going up, the slot receivers breaking out. And he did it for 20 years. So, like, you can have signals, but you got to execute. Like, I think somebody, it's a tip when Trent Williams and it's a runners. When it's a pass, you got to execute. So, like, we would have – I've never been on a team where we didn't have a guy who gave us signals, who gave us offensive signals. Hey, this is what – they get it from the TV copy. They'll get it from across the field. Sometimes you'll have 3 guys doing the signals and one guy is the real guy. The other 2 are just smoke screen. So it's always, it's gamesmanship. It's going on week in and week out. If you're not cheating, you're not trying. But at the end of the day, you got to execute. We played Peyton Manning the first time he came back here. Obviously, Reggie had spent a bunch of time with him. And these quarterbacks, Aaron, Peyton, Drew, Tom, all these guys, they carry a lot of that same shit over. And they're more concerned about their guys being on the same page having the signal, so they're not going to out-trick themselves. Defense, you can have all you want. Reggie will tell us this, that, and the third, but, hey, don't get too caught up on this shit because he'll go and change it and make sure you hear him call it, and you're like, hey, this is coming, and then they'll have some other option perfectly drawn up. So it's always been a part of the game. It is literally people's job to do it. Usually it's a quality control guy or whoever, what do they call the grad GAs on the college level. So it's always somebody. But at the end of the day, you got to execute. You got to get it done between downs. And more importantly, you got to be on the same page with your guys that we're doing what we need to be doing in quads coverage or in cover 2 or in cover 3, whatever that is.
The way the story was rolled out was as if it was out of a novel in a movie. And then we're listening to it. It kind of is. And I think at Connor Stallion's head, he was beating a rule with the advanced scouting. I wasn't telling it. If they sent it to me, they sent it to me. If I saw it, I saw it. And then he'd be able to put together a signed board for who they're playing against. I mean, it's like all those things that it feels like you went too far. Yeah, you just went to, we're all trying to do it. Yeah. But what you just went, you took advantage. And I think Connor Stallion said, is that my fault? Is that your fault? Who's saying where the line is like what Connor Stallion's question is, because if the rule says that I can't go or that coaches can't go, it doesn't say shit about somebody I meet on the internet that I just got tickets for. And if they want to happen to record some stuff and send it to me, even though I didn't tell them that, right? Asked the lawyer. I didn't say that, to my understanding, right? Yep. Okay, I did that. Very fascinating, this whole situation. I'll be intrigued to see what the NCAA does with the punishment, because you potentially open a Pandora's box for people to go back about the signed stuff, especially with what Coach T. Will just said right there.
And we saw Michigan play football last year. Yeah. Like, boots on the ground. We saw them, I think, a couple games. We see Arkansas. What was their record? And everybody's doing it, but you got to go out there and execute. You got to have the players. You got to have the scheme. Everybody's doing it. And Connor definitely found some loopholes, and he went a little maybe too far. But it will be. It was interesting on my ex at least. It was like people were split right down the middle. Oh, Harbaugh definitely knew. Harbaugh had no idea. So I'm interested to see once I watch the hour.
Connor Stallion's got game ball against the Hawks.
He did, and it kind of just, reinforced my beliefs that, we were cheated, obviously. He was no, but it really, like we've talked about this. It's a perfect example just of, pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered. Because if he would have just continued to kind of do it how everyone else is doing it, I'm sure, then whatever, you maybe get a slap on a wrist. But, the smoking gun really, or I feel like when it kind of got to be like a massive deal is when they had that picture of him, dressed up on the Central Michigan sideline. It's like, okay, well, if he's doing stuff like this, maybe that is, he's not just having one of his buddies record signals at a different game. It's like this dude who is a staffer for Michigan is on a different university's sideline, what the hell is he doing there? Yeah. I feel like that's when it was really like, okay, something needs to be done about this.
And also, and we said this last year during the coverage of it all, and our show was used a lot in that documentary. I didn't know that was coming. So that's why we ran their shit too without asking. Yep. So, we can. Yeah.
Fair play.
Fair play. Good on you. And I think we might have Maverick Carter, who's one of the executive producers on it, on this week at some point to chit chat a little bit more about the entirety of the story. But it became the thing that took over college talk. And it's like, even if Harbaugh didn't know, they reaped the benefit of it. Yeah. They certainly reaped the benefit of everything that was happening, which is why the punishment is going to have to happen at some point and did happen at time. But for their team not to blink after all of that, imagine if they were able to continue to know everybody's signals. Did they have a backup signal guy? Because every other team they were playing against going forward certainly had people trying to decipher signals. Did Michigan have no signal people because they weren't allowed as they went on to win? It's almost like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Was it more impressive now that they weren't able to do anything? We shall see. Joining us now is a guy who probably knows a little bit about this because in the NFL, this is happening as well. In the NFL, there are certainly guys that make teams and are on sidelines because they have a very good understanding of what's happening on the other side of the field. Now, coaches obviously are expected to know this type of stuff, but if you have a quarterback or a player or a GA that understands what hand signals are for coverage on the backside of the other one and can see it, get it in, and get it to the quarterback before that 15-second time limit where they can't talk anymore, what an advantage. Joining us, ladies and gentlemen, Dahn, NFL legend, 3-time Super Bowl champion, host of the Lombardi Line, the GM Shuffle. He's a TED talker and founder of the Daily Coach, an email newsletter that you need to read when you're taking your morning dumps. Michael Lombardi.
Hey, Pat. What's up, guys? How we doing? Welcome back home. You guys did an impressive job there. Very good. Well done. You represented America very good in Ireland. I mean, I don't think they thought we can't drink over there. I think we proved that.
Thank you. That was one goal. It was like, hey, let's have a little respect.
Yeah.
But I would like to let all the people in Ireland know I got nothing but respect for you.
Amen.
Hey, those lads.
They can go as well.
Those lads can really go over there. Those lads can really go over there. And Seamus,
oh my God,
this might be the one who could go the most out of anybody. But we had a blast. We thank you for paying attention to our program, Lombardi. We love having you on. We're talking about the Connor stat. Give me choke.
Yeah, I know.
More
Talk
Guinness.
about the homeland.
Talk
about the homeland.
Some leftover Guinness,
Talk
perhaps.
about the homeland. We're talking about the Connor Stallions documentary on Netflix, Untold, where they get the behind the scenes and the investigation and him being questioned and what he was saying, and how he went about it all. And T. Will, who's the Arkansas defensive coordinator, basically just said, when I was at UCF, they had my shit here. They passed it over here. I just asked him, like, hey, what was our tell? He told us everything. And what conversation led from it is like, since the history of signs being given in sports, not just football, but in sports as a whole, there has been a weapon of being able to figure out signs.
Oh, yeah.
If you can.
Of course.
That's an added benefit for sure. So it's interesting how this is all going to get viewed by the NCAA whenever they punish Michigan inevitably and announce it. What are your thoughts on it all, and what do you think about football and signs and sports as a whole?
Well, I think, look, sign stealing has been going on in the National Football League since they took away the quarterback calling the plays, okay? And there's guys in the Hall of Fame currently today that have spent a lot of time stealing signs. And I'm not, I am a true Italian. I'm not going to tell anybody names or anything. I'll plead the fifth and do that. But I think if you're dumb enough to show your signs out there in front of God and everybody, you deserve to get them stolen because it's a competitive disadvantage if people know what you're doing. I mean, you're giving away your signs, and you have to be very careful. One of the reasons why, if you're an NFL team, you do not want your sidelines across the field from the press box. Why is that? Because you don't want people stealing, having a clear view of your signals. One of the things when I went to Cleveland, that's one of the things I said, we got to move our sideline away. Now, we have radio communication, so that's not necessary anymore. But I think to me, it's really important that you understand that this is a competitive environment, and everybody's looking for that little extra edge. And if you're dumb enough to give your signs on national TV, then that's what's going to happen to you.
Yeah, in the NFL, the Connor Stallion situation is they didn't have communication from coach to quarterback, so everybody had to give signs. Everybody had those big dumb tarps that Coach T. Will was talking about, and it's like, we got to hide our signs. It makes sense that they're finally initiating the quarterback-coach conversation. But at one point, there were some conferences or schools that wouldn't be able to afford it, so that'd be a competitive advantage for some people. It's like, all right, we're in 2024, happy we're moving on. Let's talk about moving on. Teams have to move on from a lot of players today. And I know you're a former GM and been a part of, obviously, personnel and consulting. And we talked to Bill yesterday, who looked young, didn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Young.
Looking good. Get rest.
Younger day by
day. Sleeping in. Doing good.
Yeah, he looked great. He's sleeping in. Yeah, absolutely. He looked younger. He talked about how during cut day, he had to fire 37 people every single year, at least, let alone maybe more people. As a former GM, as a personnel person, today kind of sucks, obviously, but you're making dreams come true as well. Which one do you try to focus on more, and how do you think these conversations go with? And has everybody tried to fight you before whenever you cut something?
Well, no, I think if you're instructed, like if you're the general manager and you're going to meet with the players, you have to treat the young man in front of you as if it's your son. And I think that's really important. That's what I would tell the kids. I mean, if I was in there talking to a player, I would easily say to the player, look, I'm going to talk to you as if I were talking to my own son. Here's where I think you can excel. Here's where I think you need to work on. Here's why you didn't make the team. And here's where we think you have a future and why we want you on the practice squad or why we may not call you. I think the worst thing you can do to any young man who's been disappointed about not making the team is lie to him. I don't think you should lie to them. I think they want honesty. I know it's going to be hard to handle. I know they're devastated, but you have to be very polite and sensitive, but you also have to be honest because you don't want to sit there and say, and this happens in a lot of NFL organizations, well, we really liked you in the scouting department, but the coaches cut you.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't the blame game. Like, that's not fair to the kid. The kid deserves to know what he has to work on, what he can improve on, and does he actually have a future? And I think that's the conversation, and you try to make it as honest as you possibly can.
And when you have to let somebody go, copping out by blaming other people is not necessarily the right thing to do.
No, that's horrible.
Because then those
it makes
people,
the organization look bad, Pat. It makes you, well, wait a minute. They just told me the coach didn't want it. Why did I get cut? Like, that's just horrible. But it happens. I'm telling you, it happens in every city.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the big names that are potentially going to be on the move. How closely do you think GMs are watching the other waivers more so than their own roster before making their own decisions?
Well, I think what we'll see today is we'll see waiver manipulation. So we'll see trades like the Bears made with Darrell Taylor and Chris Williams, where the Bears wanted to get those two players, so they gave up an asset for a flip, right? They traded this pick for that pick, and essentially it was no cost at all. That's kind of what's going on. I think when now these names get released, like for example, Bailey Zappi got released by the Patriots. Okay, we know he's going to be on the waiver wire. Say you're a team like a team that needs a backup quarterback, or the Giants who maybe think they need somebody as the third teamer and it's not Tommy DeVito or whatever. Then you make a trade for the guy if you're not high up there on the trade list. This today is about improving the bottom half of your roster and having young players on your team that can help you win games in November and December. Remember, this time last year, Clowney was just on the Ravens. Van Noy wasn't on the Ravens. Those guys combined for 19.5 sacks because they added them later. And I think that's kind of what we're dealing with right now. Who can help us as we develop them?
So the Packers wanted Malik Willis. Instead of letting him hit the waiver wire, let's trade for him and make sure we get him.
That's exactly right.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that happens yesterday, which I think Packers fans got pretty excited about. It was a 2025 7th-round pick, which I assume the Packers are like, we're willing to give up 7th-round pick to get our backup that we would like to have on our particular team. Who are the backups? Sean Clifford and
Michael Pratt, a guy they drafted this year, but
in the 7th round, from Tulane.
And LaFleur said yesterday, like, we're going to see what else is out there. Like they had not impressed in either the games or practices during preseason.
So in their eyes, they just used a 7th-round pick next year on Malik Willis.
Yeah,
like that.
Right, but it's probably a conditional 7th too, Pat. So if he's on the roster for 3 weeks, then it's a 7th. Or if he's on the roster for 8 weeks, it's a firm 7th. It's one of those. Usually those picks, when they're just pick swaps like that, they have some conditions to them. Because if he doesn't make the team, you don't want to give up a 7th-round pick. But it's roster manipulation. Like, for example, the Dotson trade that the Eagles made. I mean, that one marvels me because that trade, the Eagles sent a pick that's going to be somewhere between 90 and 96. 3rd-round pick for the Eagles. They're going to be a playoff team. They're going to pick somewhere in there, and they still got assets back, which makes you wonder, why wasn't there more competition for Dotson? Like, why weren't other teams trying to offer? Because Washington surely would have made a deal with Pittsburgh instead of making a deal with Philly.
Well, yeah, Philly in that NFC East getting the Giants running back and then getting a slot within, I mean, Howie's doing it, and heard Bill say that yesterday as well. He's like, "What Howie's been able to accomplish, I don't know.
It's amazing. It really is. It's like, but he's not no competition. I mean, his picks are not great picks. They're 90 to 96, and yet he's beating teams that need players. Now, Dotson. Let's put this in perspective. Dotson's going to be the 5th option for Philadelphia. He's never going to see the best corner. He's never going to see double coverage. He's going to have the best time of his life because all that stuff goes to A.J. Brown. It goes to it goes to Smith.
What's his name? What's his first name? What do you think his first name is?
I got it. I forget. I got it all. I get Waddle and Smith confused all the time.
Devontae Smith. Yeah, I mean
Devontae. I get them confused. But
but watching your brain,
I was on a roll and you stopped me. I was going. I was in a run.
No, you're right though. You're 100% right with the Eagles. Like in him just being able to just kind of leak out with how explosive he is bananas, especially with how much they're going to have to respect Saquon and Jalen. We already know what's been happening when he has a good running back. What happens to the outside linebacker, safety, whatever, it's just frozen completely, let alone Saquon potentially going the other way. Now you got a little Dotson and Batman and little Batman. I mean,
Goddard.
And Goddard
Come on,
able to go right up the middle, plus
Goddard's
block.
Good player.
So it is, hey, good on you, Eagles.
Yeah.
Good on you. Going to have to figure out who's going to replace Kelsey. Now, what does today do to potentially expedite the processes with teams in their situations? I'm sure the boys will ask about what's happening in the Niners. I want to ask about Hassan Reddick, who has never even been inside of the Jets building since getting traded out of Philadelphia because Philadelphia wouldn't give a long-term deal to him. Now, Robert Saleh was asked about him. He said there is a path to him to be able to play in week 1. He assumes he's in phenomenal shape. We got a video of Hassan Reddick working out with a pass rushing specialist, Coach BT Jordan, who I looked at his website and his profile after this, works with a lot of guys. He was down at the Pass Rush Summit as well, so I assume he is his individual coach. And Hassan Reddick has had a phenomenal career, but we see 6 seconds of him going over some hurdles and then getting around a dummy. We assume Hassan Reddick is a pro and is in shape, but he hasn't even been in the building, and he still wants to get traded. Does today expedite this process for teams? Like, is there a chance that more people come out of the woodwork wanting Hassan Reddick? Do you think today will bring a day where the Jets will want to get a deal done with Hassan Reddick? How do you feel today and the cuts kind of work in this type of situation?
Well, the Reddick one, I don't see the solution. I mean, he wants a new contract. Nobody's going to take the Jets' problems off their hands. They traded a 26th third-round pick for the guy, and so there he is. I think he's been fined close to $4 million going up. The meter's running like crazy. I don't know how, to pay the fine back, you got to have $4 million of cash sitting in the bank. And now he's going to start losing game checks. I don't see how that works. I think the hardest one, and I listened to Shefty yesterday on your show, the hardest one is Ayuk, because Brandon Ayuk is really not being reasonable. He's not being – he sees himself in the Lamb Chase category. It's hard to do a contract when you can't put the player in the right category. He should be signed by now. They've offered him a deal that's commensurate to what his production has been. But he's being unreasonable in terms of he wants to get paid at a higher level. That's a hard deal to do. Like the CeeDee Lamb deal should not have been this hard. It should have been done 3 weeks ago because it fit perfectly within the structure of the wide receiver contracts. It was perfectly fit. Now, maybe he didn't want to go to Thousand Oaks, and that's all well and good. I don't know that. But the Ayuk deal, to me, the hard part why that's not getting done is the player has a different sense of value, and the agent can't convince the player this is the market. Because if he really was about money, he would have taken the New England deal.
Where does he want to be?
Yeah, that's the. I think that's what everybody's trying to figure out.
I think it's the most frustrating thing of all because he's constantly changing his mind. I think at the 49ers, now the rubber meets the road this week or next week. They're going to have 4 days off this weekend. All teams have to. But when it starts next Tuesday, a week from today, when you start getting ready for the Jet game, you're either going to be playing or you're not. And if you're not playing, you're going to start getting fine game checks.
Well, and Trent Williams' deal also, kind of sitting out there right now. And he is obviously GOAT conversation at a very, very, very needed position for every single team. So the San Francisco 49ers certainly have their situation. There's a couple other situations of brewing, too, at a very important position. Go ahead, D-Buck.
Yeah, the most important position, quarterback position. Obviously some big decisions to be made in New England and out in Pittsburgh. Seems like Russell Wilson is probably going to be the guy in Pittsburgh. I know Tomlin said he will name a starter at the end of the work week. But how do you see these quarterback situations play out, and how would you, play them out as a GM?
Well, if I were in New England, I would play Brissett, only because I think their offensive line is in such a state of disarray that I don't want to hurt the young rookie's progress. I think he's looked very good. I think he shows he has a future, but preseason's way different than the regular season. And I think they signed Brissett for a purpose. And until they can protect the young quarterback, there's no reason to put him out there. And the game speeds up so dramatically on game one of the regular season that all of a sudden that offensive line, which wasn't blocking the backups of the Washington football team and will struggle to block Cincinnati, I would play Brissett knowing that you're going to eventually get to May. Here's the problem. If you start May and he doesn't play well, now you have to bench him. And now that hurts the kid's confidence, and it affects the team. Let people want to see May play eventually while you get your line. I think the main decision in Pittsburgh for Mike Tomlin is about who's going to protect the football. I mean, Mike Tomlin won 10 games without very good play from their quarterback last year. So he's about protecting the ball. Russell Wilson was 7th in the National Football League and not throwing interceptions last year. He did protect the ball for the most part. I think ultimately that's going to be the deciding factor, whereas Mike's going to want to win the game with his defense, run the football, and not turn this thing over.
Allegedly, it's coming out, this was never a competition between Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. This was Russell Wilson's job from the beginning. Well, Mike Tomlin did say he was in pole position going into training camp and to the offseason. Justin Fields, whenever he was on the field for the Steelers, obviously did what Justin Fields does, which is provide a lot of excitement. But then there was also some potential turnovers. And to go to your point, Mike Tomlin's not going to be sitting there watching the quarterback just give the ball to the other team, mostly because if you don't, we're going to win a 9-6 game, because that's what we've done for the last 10 years. Like that is literally what we have done for the last 10 years. That's Pittsburgh football. Russell should be able to take care of it. Russell should be able to, but if he doesn't, once again, you got Justin Fields sitting there for maybe a quick little burst and maybe dual quarterback situation. Have Justin Fields ready and utilize what he's fantastic
That's the guy,
at.
man.
What's that?
I mean, I feel like if I'm a Pittsburgh fan, the guy will want to win the job and be the quarterback of the future is Justin Fields, because with Mike Tomlin there, you're going to win 8, 9, 10 games. You're never going to be picking in that top 3 to get a franchise changer at that quarterback position. How many times do these guys hit the market? So, I mean, that's the guy you want. Obviously, you can't just make it happen, but that's the guy I would want, Justin Fields, to get in there and show, hey, he's had potential. Now he's protect the ball. Can he get rid of the ball? Can he read coverages and do those different things? That's what I would want, though, if I'm a Steelers fan.
Those are big questions. If he could do those things, that would be great, and that's who we would want. But also,
I think the challenge that Mike has is he's got to stand in front of his team and sell the starting quarterback. And we all don't see who's the best leader. We all don't see who has a command in the huddle. We all don't see about who's working in the team meetings. All those factors, when Mike stands in front of his team and says, Russell's the starter, and here's why. Because there's a lot of doubt in that room. There's doubt in the sense that there's probably a group of people that think Russell should start. There's probably a group that thinks Fields should start. There's probably a group that's wondering, why the hell did we sign Mason Rudolph back? So you got a lot of groups in that room. And so Mike's got to convince the room, this guy gives us the best chance. See, that's what people don't understand. You lose your credibility when you try to sell something that's not real.
Yeah, and the team knows it immediately. Oh, yeah. And then also the games figure themselves out, because somebody could look crop in preseason, then regular season comes and everything clicks for whatever reason, and then the complete opposite can happen. They're both there. Russell Wilson's only getting paid $1 million. Yep. So they can make a lot of decisions. That quarterback position is a big decision to be made. Let's go to Connor, has a question for you, Lombo.
Yeah, Lombo, a situation similar to New England going into the season was Minnesota. They brought in Sam Darnold to be their bridge quarterback, draft J.J. McCarthy in the first round, hoping that he'd be the future. But now J.J. McCarthy's out for the season with the knee injury. Do you think they're going to bring in someone like a Mike White? We talked about how DTR was named kind of the backup to Deshaun. So now Jameis or Huntley might be on the block. Do you think they're going to bring in one of those guys and make that a competition again? Or do you think that, the Vikings might do the Jets situation, just roll with the guy that they have and don't make any moves and just kind of see what happens?
I think if you're Minnesota and you're Kevin O'Connell, you're saying, who's better than Nick Mullins that's on the waiver wire? Can we get a better player than Nick Mullins? Is this guy equal to or similar to Nick Mullins? If the answer is yes, don't make a change. If the answer is this guy is much better than Nick Mullins, we've got to make the move. Sam's going to be the starter, but if Sam goes down, I don't want to lose the season. I don't want to have to sign Joshua Dobbs or make a trade to get a quarterback to come in here midway through the year. So that really the question you're asking inside the Minnesota building is Mullins good enough to be the backup, right? Is Mullins and Hall as the third? They drafted him. They have promise for him, whether he can be the guy or not. But that's the fundamental question they're asking. Is Mike White better than Nick Mullins? Is Bailey Zappi better than Nick Mullins? I mean, that's what you're trying to constantly do. And then as the waiver wire comes in, most of these guys are vested veterans that are getting cut, the quarterbacks. So you can get to them quicker than you could some young guy. So if Winston gets released by Cleveland, or traded, they could easily get him on the team the next day. I think that's what's going on in Minnesota.
Well, and the vested situation is obviously interesting, because if you're a vested player, which is 4 years or more, I do believe, 4 years or more, and you're on the opening day roster, your salary for the entire year is guaranteed. Okay, so it's
Yes.
a guaranteed salary. Bill broke it down yesterday, but it's a very real thing that happens during all these cuts, which is why vested players you see, like their names kind of pop up, and then there's a game played, then they're signed, then you move it. Jameis Winston not being a Brown this year would be a real bummer.
Yeah, he's so bummed.
I would be so bummed out about that. He was saying we.
But the other thing people do with vested veterans, Pat, is they could go to and say, look, we'll sign you back on Monday.
Bingo.
And then we can manipulate the roster a little bit to do that. That's kind of how this thing goes. But I would be surprised if Winston didn't have a job. I really would be.
Let's talk about the roster stuff. Ty has a question for you.
Yeah, Lombo, before you got on, we were kind of talking, Pat and Debo were saying how most of the time, if guys are getting cut, it's just a numbers game. It's not necessarily that a guy isn't very good. But we're seeing in a lot of different situations, teams are cutting guys who they either drafted this year and maybe like the 4th round, 5th round, et cetera, or whatever, or a guy they just drafted last year. How difficult is that process where you're trying to decide whether or not you want to keep a guy and it's a guy you just sunk some, like a draft pick into, whether it was last year or the year before?
Right. The hardest thing to do is evaluate your own team, and you have to remove bias from it, and you have to be honest. Just because you draft him, if he can't play, he still can't play. Just because you drafted him doesn't make him any better than how he plays. I think this year's a fascinating case study in this sense. Because of NIL, we saw a lot of kids who typically would have come out for the draft stay in school because they're getting money now. They're professional athletes in college. So the 5th, 6th, and 7th rounds were really watered down this year. They were more like 8th, 9th, and 10th rounds, which is going to make teams decide, is this guy really good enough?
We drafted
or not?
a fucking 10th rounder this year.
Yikes.
Right. Well, I think what happens when 150 guys stay in school, Pat, that affects the draft.
Agreed.
And so I'm not saying all those guys would have gotten drafted, but I think this draft, at the end of the draft, was a little watered down. And so the quality of play in those later rounds, and still be some guys who make it and some guys who do great, but I think that's going to make teams think twice about it. Remember this. It's not about where you start on the roster. It's about, are you on the practice squad? Can we bring you up? A lot of guys have been on practice squad, have gone on to have great careers. I mean, Jason Peters, the great left tackle, I could have signed him when I was at the Raiders. He was on a practice squad for the Buffalo Bills, and I couldn't convince Mr. Davis to do it, and so we couldn't bring him in there. But there are players that are out there.
It doesn't matter how you get in the building, just that you're in the building. I think that is that is the big message, because yes, there's some guys who are getting rich off of this particular contract, their first contract as a rookie, but it's that second and third contract where you get wealthy. So if you're in the building and you have a job, anything can happen. That is legit. And if you got to play special teams for a year and a half, 2 years, just be the best that you could possibly be at it, because you have no idea what's on the other side of all of that. Man, the NFL makes dreams come true. I'm so bummed out that we got to talk about everybody getting cut and becoming insurance salesmen. It's like there's also millionaires being created, like that their families have never experienced in the history of ever on this particular day. It's a true beautiful thing. It's a true beautiful thing.
Got to be where your feet are. Like we talking about Jameis possibly been on the move, but I'm sure he took every opportunity he did in Cleveland and in Tampa and New Orleans. So wherever he goes, wherever he signs him, when you bring him in, he's going to be a guy that he's going to bring energy, he's going to prepare, he's going to bring something to your team. So you need that, especially for a guy who, probably won't be playing as a backup, and if he is, you want to be prepared with him. We know Jameis is still spinning.
Yeah, James could definitely.
You can finally see.
Yeah, and Bali Zappi, there's a chance that he
looks out. Might go to Bali.
Last question here, Lombo. We know you got your show coming up here in about 9 minutes. We appreciate your time. Go ahead, Tone.
Speaking of 9, we are 9 days away from the NFL, Lombo. With college football gambling, I love to look at continuity going into week 1, coaches, OCs, quarterbacks, how many returning starters there are. Does that matter as much in the NFL? And to you, what are you looking forward to or looking for in these week 1 games? Is it continuity? Because Bill talked about yesterday with D-Butts how if you have a veteran defense coming back, you can call so much more defense than you can with new guys and stuff like that. What do you think the biggest thing we should look at gambling for week 1 is?
Well, I think a lot of it is that continuity, but I think it's how teams prepare. For example, Zach Taylor's 0-4 the first 2 weeks of the last 2 years. But he changed how he practices this summer. He changed. And so his team looked a lot better. I mean, his team went out there against starters and played really well against Chicago. His team went out there against starters and played well, so he's got better depth. I think he took a more serious approach to preseason. I think you have to go with teams that have tough camps, teams that get their teams ready for the rigors of the opening game. Detroit had a good preseason. They practiced a lot. They had their guys. Kansas City. I mean, Mahomes is playing. I always tend to gravitate to coaches who have proven over time that they are very good in week one. And you can tell the execution. What I always typically will do is go through the game books on week one and see how many rushes and completions a team has with the same coach. Rushes and completions means how many times they run the ball and how many completed passes. When that number's over 52, your execution is really good. And so that's an indicator of how hard your camp was. And I think that's kind of how you have to look at week one.
It's fucking math, D-Buck.
It's math.
That's all it is, man. That's all it is, baby.
Run the ball, you control the game.
Hey, thank you for making it so simple for us. How about that Georgia Tech Florida State game? 5 million viewers.
Great game.
Most watched week 0 game ever. Numbers just came in for College Game Day. Biggest week 0 show of all time.
Oh, yeah. I could see it. Yeah.
It was.
I mean, we love it. It's great. I mean, and look, the ACC, Florida State, every year, one thing I know, Bill would say this to you guys all the time, every year's a new year. The one thing we know is unpredictability will be predictable.
Ooh.
Boom.
And football is amazing. You're the best.
Yes.
I can't thank you enough. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Lombardi.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I guess the game day numbers are big. Our show on Friday, numbers big. The game, big. It's like football, baby.
Football,
yeah,
baby.
Football, baby.
Continues to climb.
Thank you, football.
Football. Thank you, football, so much. And what a game, too.
Yeah, incredible.
Fantastic.
And that number was so much, I think it was 30, the game, Georgia Tech, Florida State was up like 30% compared to last
31,
year.
I think, yep.
31% over Notre Dame and Navy. Notre Dame's fan base, especially Ireland, like
gigantic.
That is why Notre Dame has so much prestige, is because Notre Dame is gigantic. It's like Florida State fans, obviously everywhere. Georgia Tech fans showed up in a big way, but football fans, I think, just appreciated the fact that real football was back. And we're so lucky to be a football Stooges show, and football matters again.
Yeah,
yes, it does.
And this weekend, you got Penn State, West Virginia.
I know.
You got Texas A&M, Notre Dame.
What? The Thursday games. The Thursday games are awesome, too. Colorado plays on Thursday.
Colorado, Dakota, the
LSU.
Jacksonville State is playing on Thursday night.
Coastal against Coastal, I think.
We learned this last year about this Jacksonville State team. Must-watch TV. Must-watch TV every single year. Yeah, but we got massive games. I mean, there's
Georgia.
SC LSU. Like, how about just SC LSU is happening?
That Sunday game the last few years has been awesome.
How about that? USC LSU is happening right now in August.
Yeah,
like
awesome.
That feels like a December, November, because most teams, the way they would schedule, their football early. If you're a big name school, we're not taking any. Yeah. We're not losing any. But now with the conference realignment, and the opportunity, and the primetime games, and the Modelo Vegas Kickoff Classic, which will be Herbie and Reese, I believe, are calling that game. It's going to be. It's like we're getting marquee matchups every single week. And I am so fucking pumped. Thank you, college football.
Thank you, college football.
And the NFL, obviously, we're a couple weeks out from that thing starting off. Baltimore, Kansas City, first game. Then Philadelphia, Green Bay the next day.
Yeah.
Then a college football lineup that is absurd.
Yep.
And then a full NFL Sunday, then a Monday Night Football.
Oh,
my
God.
Back.
One more Monday without football.
Oh, what a time to be alive. We can't thank you enough for allowing us to do this for a living. We're so incredibly thankful. Thank you for spending your Saturday morning with us. Thank you for spending your afternoons with us Monday through Friday. And thank you to football for being here for all of us. If it wasn't for football, I would obviously be nowhere near where I am. I'd probably be flipping burgers. So I'm incredibly grateful. We'll see you in the next hour with AJ Hawk and Kirk Herbstreit.
Hi, how's it going? My name is Pat McAfee. Used to hold balls for Adam Vinatieri. Now I'm in his home state. College Game Day is absolutely electric. And Brookings,
College Game Day has made the voyage to Brookings, South Dakota to experience a game with the best fans in college football. I unfortunately cannot attend because I have a game this Sunday, so I sent a man I trust to make my picks. A man who was my holder for almost a decade. Please be nice to him. Welcome this week's celebrity guest picker, Pat McAfee.
No,
big, go blue, go Jacks.
Hosting Auburn. Yes, everybody saw this. The best fake punt in the world. What do you think, Pat?
I absolutely loved it all the way up until execution time. That is not one we like to show in the brand headquarters and punting and kicking world.
Oh, dance off. Oh, let's get weird. Yes. Duck that, huh?
Bang! Right off the top of the dome. That makes it a lot easier when you got a dummy standing right in front of you like that.
Running. He's Hayden Daniel Russo.
Wax on, wax off, knee to the face.
World Series.
Go, yes.
These teams stink. With that 15, they celebrate by doing shotguns. And I'm a big fan of that. I'm going with the University of Virginia Cavaliers. That was great. Whoa! I will never, ever in the history of my life cut against that ball. Oklahoma State is the winner here. Not so fast again.
But I'm going Trey.
Please excuse my dumb friend Kirk. Look at this crowd. They've been out here since 4 a.m. College game day comes to town. They lose their mind. The population of this state is about 800,000. And when the Jackrabbits take the field, they're alongside all 800,000 South Dakotans. The Dakota marker was in Fargo for far too long. Today, 5 o'clock local time, the Dakota marker is back in beautiful Brookings, South Dakota. Terry School. They might be the Jackrabbits, but they're the GOATs today. Ladies and gentlemen, South Dakota State with the win.
Give me everybody say that. No, don't do that. No. Leave.
Kofi has the win.
The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey,
Why?
let's go.
This show stinks. And the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for.
McAfee on the line with a gorgeous assist.
The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers.
You pink.
Damn it! Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on this Cut Day Tuesday, August 27th, 2024. Hour 2 of the program starts now. Football! That's a big day today. There's people getting cut. There's people experiencing dreams coming true and dreams getting slaughtered. There are teams taking shape that are going to inevitably make a run to the playoffs. There's teams taking shape that are inevitably going to suck. And then there's one team that is taking shape right now that is going to end up as world champion down in New Orleans at the next Super Bowl. Who will it be? Everybody has hope. And today, teams can get better or worse in the public eye, but does any of it matter? We'll talk about it all. The Talk Stables here at Boss O'Connor and at Ty Schmidt. Sweet shirt. One half of the hammer. Dahn. Cowboys tone Diggs looks incredibly fit over there. Good to see you, pal. Sweet arm tattoo.
Thank you.
You know?
Finally got it done.
Yeah, it looks good, though, especially with the way you had it. It was like, oh.
It's just comfy. It's just comfy.
No, but I'm saying, like, the way it was, though, you could see
shining.
Is that fire there?
There is some fire in there, yeah.
Yeah, it's fire.
Fire in the eyes.
I see the power of the fire right there. It looks really good.
Thank you.
Shout out to Plum, by the way.
Shout
out. Me and Diggs are from Plum High School.
And
Nick Morado in the back.
And myself.
And Phil.
After his recent comments.
Yeah, Boston Connor, I do not know if you're necessary. Anyways, do you know that we got a golfer that's going to be the greatest in the world?
I have heard.
Have you heard about this?
Yeah. Really?
We got a guy.
Okay.
Listen, we got a guy. Wes Lorish, which I hope I am pronouncing the name right. Plum kid, golfer. Plum's golf team has obviously existed for a while. There is a golf course country club in Plum called Rolling Fields, which is a
super nice
top 5 course in America, probably, maybe
the world.
Maybe in the world. I mean, I didn't get seeing the golf courses in Ireland.
Definitely North America.
This
Definitely.
like a Kenny Wood situation, or
Yes,
No.
it is.
Wow.
No, it is not.
Yes, it is.
We know the owner of Rolling
we're all-
Fields.
You mean
Yeah.
USA Today
It's a
ranked
great
it in
place.
the top 10? Yeah. it is.
Yeah, we
Great
do.
place.
Yeah, we do. We do know about Kenny Wood. Fantastic. Boys at the University of Pittsburgh just confirmed that last week.
Wow.
So I don't even need to hear it. Duquesne's going next week. They'll talk about it.
No way.
Yeah, and then everybody in Dahn's going Dahn, and they're saying it's still great. It
For
still has
free.
its fastball. And Kenny Kangaroo, he actually looks a little bit more mature this year, not as ratty and scumbaggy.
Yeah.
That's what everybody's saying. Wes Lorish, though, kid shot a 32. Okay, this is at Willowbrook against Central Catholic. First win over Central Catholic in golf in 36 years.
Okay.
So I think you could assume that the high school that I came from, probably not just producing golfers as much as maybe like a Central Catholic private school.
Central's the only private school in the city, or pretty much.
Yeah, potentially creating golfers. So massive win, and it's because this dude is leading a team of Mustangs. Shot a 33 on Oakmont last week.
Damn. Pretty
Oakmont
impressive.
is the U.S. Open course. 33 9 holes is what these high school matches are. I think he shot a 30 a couple weeks ago on same course. He shot a 32 the other day to beat Central Catholic. So Central Catholic, obviously massive rival and like everything like that. So in the biggest moments, this kid shows up and plays his best golf, which means dog. It's from Plum. It's going to be in there. He went to a tournament this past summer. I think it was like his first time going to one of these big tournaments. Did very well in it. I think he's a senior. I guess there's college golf I'm learning about.
Oh, yeah.
I've kind of been learning about all this through this kid's story because obviously we've been it's been very cool to be a part of this World Mustangs Here Fund alongside Eddie Edwards and Phil Maines and Keith Nonnenberg, who is the golf team's coach, actually, where, we've invested $2 million back into our high school athletics because we want kids to continue to play sport because we think sports are amazing. Our biggest success story thus far in being able to assist is this West kid, and he might be the best fucking golfer in the country. Wes, keep going, bud. Hey, this is not
going.
this is just the beginning, Wes. You got to keep getting better because everybody else is, but I want to make sure people know that he exists because Plum Golf, I don't think, is getting highly recruited. I don't think that's how it works.
And that's a big part of it, actually. Those summer tournaments are so important. Unfortunately, the high school tournaments, I knew kids that would shoot really, really well when I was in high school. No one knew about them, so they didn't go anywhere. So if he goes to those summer tournaments, does well.
So it's like AAU is the summer ones.
Exactly. And if you're shooting 3-4 under, that's Division I numbers from what I remember, at least.
Yeah, and I think there's a kid that plays at West Virginia now from Penn Trafford that he won for the state championship last year, went into extra holes and lost to, but he's a freshman now at West Virginia. West Virginia has a golf team. I did not know that.
Wow. Sure.
I did not know that. Kid, Mountaineer fan. I don't know if I am potentially a reason why or if his family, but nonetheless, it's like we got a dog in Plum. I'm so pumped about it. Let's go, Wes. Hey.
Go Wes. Keep rolling.
Got to keep working though, brother.
Oh, he will.
Anybody can be good when you're 17. Let's go.
Is he playing rolling fields all the time?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
I hope not.
That makes it like 10 times more impressive.
What are you talking about?
Respectfully.
What are you saying?
Respect. I've been to rolling fields. I love rolling fields.
What are you saying? Respectfully.
That's a tough track.
And
Rolling Fields
that's
right
not
there.
it. That's not rolling field.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that could be. That could be. It might have got some new trees, new fairways, new land.
No crabgrass there, so.
Yeah, he's big lefty. I mean, he just in control, so smooth. In the biggest moments, rolls putts in.
That's rolling field right
King.
there.
I don't think that's rolling
Yes,
fields
sir.
either.
No.
I mean, unless they got a new hole, which maybe
I think so.
maybe they did. That's a hole in one probably.
Smooth
I mean,
swing. Likes it.
Hey,
Great
let's go,
divot.
Wes. Go get it, pal.
Like
And that whole
everybody
team,
else.
congratulations on big wins. 9-year NFL vet Darius J. Butler is here live in the Thunderdome. Good to see you, D. Butch. You look incredibly
Baby
cool.
Butchie.
You look incredibly cool.
Good fit.
Feels like this year is going to be another year of incredibly cool fits from Darius J. Butler.
Season's here, so this is still off-season fit right now.
Oh, that's
Okay.
nice.
Whoa.
We got the wardrobe for the real thing a couple weeks ago.
You feel pretty good? You already have it in the closet?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
David Allen is shipping me like 6 sport
go.
coats this week for game day.
Boom.
I said, hey, Bub, listen, I need to wear them for game day. So, and he goes, what are you thinking? I'm like, you're thinking.
Yep. Surprised me.
You're the one.
He was with Skeens yesterday.
Yeah, he is a dog. He basically everybody in Pittsburgh he dresses, and then in WWE he has connections as well. So I just told, hey, David Allen, yins or fuck, I need to wear them on TV. You see what I do? I just need for game day to look presentable because. Do you see the way Herbstreit dresses?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Desmond Howard is one of the clean. They are like the cleanest.
Reese looked unbelievable.
The gray with the
in
green
Dublin.
from Reese was.
Reese with these, they are like maybe the cleanest dressed.
Yeah.
And then I am notoriously not like the worst, but I'm on morning television next to them, so it's like have to look somewhat presentable here. And there has certainly been some looks that I've bought from Amazon last minute that maybe people didn't appreciate the way.
Sure. Wow.
I saw a lot of people say this guy looks like he's a Miami club cocaine dealer or whatever. It's like, well, I'll have you know, I spent $17 on that suit on Amazon the night before because I had nothing else that fit and I couldn't wear it. This year, preparing. This year, looking ahead. This year, David Allen's going to be taking care of me.
Can you ask David Allen about recreating the boss's outfit for you?
The boss.
The final boss.
Oh, yeah, he dressed Dwayne Johnson through the entirety of it all. I think he dressed Cena. Yeah, David Allen's the answer. He's a dog. And I think he's going to have me looking okay. I haven't seen any of them. I have no idea what's coming.
TBD.
But I got faith in him. A man who dresses well every single day.
Yeah.
Always.
Well,
what?
I'm a little upset. He was gifted something he hasn't worn on the show yet.
Yeah, that's despicable.
Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now, former president of Ohio, AJ Hawk. Yeah, it's not on there.
Still not.
I'm not going to wear it. I'm going to wear it. I know during a live show event. That's what I told Seamus. I will wear the authentic Irish vest sometime on a live show.
How about Seamus no selling his hangover on Saturday to us? How about that? You saw that?
He's a savage. He's an absolute savage.
He's an absolute monster.
Top to bottom. Top to bottom.
Seamus, they need to put a title on Seamus immediately.
Amen.
They need to have. Getting to hang out with him was like, obviously Ireland was incredibly awesome, but being around Seamus for that long, learning Seamus' story, seeing the way Seamus operates, and Seamus just knowing that it was a complete clusterfuck in there and just being like, yep, that's exactly where we're supposed to be, and taking care of us. It's like, Seamus is a legend, needs to be a champion everywhere.
Give him the speed title.
Give him everything. Yeah, and then he got in a cold tub on Saturday morning and said, recovery patty or whatever, and he sent me this photo, and he also posted it. But him showing up just no-selling it is classic wrestler. This is what the professional wrestlers do. They feel, as if they are good drinkers. So whenever they hear about you sports guys like to have, yeah, absolutely. Undertaker told the story of him putting Cypress Hill to bed one night and carrying X-Pac out over his shoulder as if they had to do that as a thing. So trying to keep up with Sheamus is a wild move, and he is a weapon.
And he'll go to WWE and tell the whole story of the entire weekend to everyone there, too.
Which is professional wrestling.
Yes.
That is Sheamus is a dog. Hey, Sheamus, we love you, buddy.
Love you, Sheamus.
Thank you for everything, Sheamus. And Sheamus brought eyeballs. That game day was up. I guess it's the most watched week 0 show ever. They need to change that week 0 thing because it wasn't a 0 at all. It was a heroic weekend.
It was.
The week hero is what it should be called because football is all the way back. But it feels like football is only growing in popularity, AJ, which is a beautiful thing. I'm lucky to be a part of the ride.
Yeah, I know. I always wonder, is there's no ceiling, right? We can just continue to gain more and more viewership. I would imagine there's so many people out there, I guess, that we don't watch football that we don't realize. So
are there?
That's the goal. Is that
what do they do?
There's a lot of people that go out on Saturday and Sundays and don't really know that football happens. That's a real thing.
Well, what do they do?
We need to know.
What do they talk about?
Apple picking.
Yeah.
Soccer.
Soccer gumpy.
Well, yeah, I mean,
no, but soccer watchers at least know American football. There's people that I guess, I've been told. I've never encountered it, I don't think. I don't think I've ever encountered it. Somebody just knows nothing about football.
Nope.
I've never.
Go to the pumpkin patch every Saturday.
You're from Pittsburgh, so.
In the United States of America, those people exist?
There's a lot of people.
What is there, 350 million Americans and 50 million watch the AFC Championship? There's 300 million people that need to be watching football.
Yeah, but total audience delivered, if you do the calculation. How many people are in each house whenever they're watching alongside?
How many babies?
Bingo, how many babies has going on football?
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know how people don't watch, though, and don't get entertained by it. Like that Georgia Tech, Florida State, no rooting interest. You watch that game, it's like, this is awesome.
Unbelievable.
And this matters a lot. There's national championship conversations that are going to be taking place from this. Speaking of the national champions from last year, Michigan, feels like the last big thing, that was going to come from the sign stealing situation, just arrived on a Netflix earlier today. The untold story of Connor Stallions. You, former president of the Ohio State, what are your thoughts on it? Have you got a chance to watch it? We've only seen clips, so we have refrained from judgment, but it feels like the internet is, if you think Jim knew, you still think he knew. If you didn't think Jim knew, you still don't think he knew. And that Connor Stallions, I think everybody agrees, was obsessed with figuring out every sign on every single team. That was kind of my takeaway from the reaction to it. Have you watched it? Have you seen it? And what does Ohio feel about this entire Michigan situation?
I haven't got a total feel exactly. I know online how people from Ohio feel. They feel justified if they felt like, hey, this was going on, all this stuff happening. I haven't seen the whole thing top to bottom, but I have seen a lot of the clips, and I started watching it earlier last night, I guess. But I don't know. First off, this dude is obsessed. I think you said it earlier. He's committed. He's definitely committed to what he is doing. How he was filming himself in the clip that you played earlier in the show. I don't know, man. I need to watch the full thing, but man, this dude was obsessed.
He said 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, all the signals that have ever been given in the history of anything.
Look how long that.
I had to record.
It was just a 1 minute clip, but of him doing every single signal, and then he cropped every single one of them, and then he put the play. Or then he had to find out what play was or formation. Like there was a trips formation in there that he
every week
coloring association.
He had to do that every single week. Take the picture of himself that he did in the garage.
Yep.
Dark shirt, light colored background.
Yep, for the contrast.
Could make that a PNG, but Connor Stallions didn't want to
doing
get
it with the garage door open
or a green screen or anything. Could have done absolutely.
I don't think he doesn't need your suggestions.
I agree.
What's the Central Michigan deal? What's the Central Michigan part of it? Do we know?
Well, that's the whole nother added conversation because he's saying that he was giving tickets to other people. And I think Bill McComas watched it this morning while we were all sitting around. I was like, we need somebody to watch this entire thing. Impossible for us, hour 20. It's a long one, so we'll watch the whole thing. Bill McComas basically got the anecdote from it that he feels as if he exploited the rules as opposed to broke any rules. Like coaches aren't allowed to go, scouts aren't allowed to go. You're not allowed to. Well, what if the film is a gift from like a friend or like what if? But then the CMU thing feels like then that's the kind of the rebuttal.
So he's saying Connor's saying though I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't break the rules. I just kind of I towed the line of what the rules may be, what you can and can't do.
I explored the space of what the rules were.
Boom.
Because they said were they family and friends? Because I guess in the rule about the advanced scouting that they put in there, I assume no family or friends of coaches or staff are allowed to go because this was probably thought of before. And then he said, no, I don't know. I was just selling tickets. Yeah. He was like a secondary ticket broker. He was acting as if I make $100 off a ticket here and I'll just move to whoever. And then sometimes they would send back a video, but I
already had it.
Yeah, I already had it.
I don't even need it. I don't need it. Already got it.
Do we know if he was a big Chips fan? Like, was he a big Central Michigan fan and just was on the sideline like that?
Yeah, maybe he was. Maybe he was planning on protesting like oil drilling.
Sure.
So he just got a ticket to get down there so that he could sprint onto the field and do a full spray the paint. But he didn't. He backed out actually because he was watching the game and he was like, they should stop the drilling, but also a pretty good game. I
It's a
don't
good
want to
football
interrupt
game.
it. So that maybe I guess you could think of any.
Oh yeah.
And
I
he
was
probably
selling
has.
this.
Well, think about Rich Eisen's doing it for sure.
Oh my! Rich Eisen said,
gosh.
So you find somebody on Etsy, you think they're going to be able to get you a good, clean shot of who you need to see? That was awesome. I didn't know that was going to be the angle.
Great angle.
Yeah, great angle. But then he listened to Connor Stallion speak. He's like, SeatGeek, greatest ticket buying platform on planet Earth and the moon. Yeah, it's not a bad business.
Easy. And they had the list of all the tickets that he transferred too, and like who they transferred, like in that one video that we showed. So it was so easy to track, but at the same time, like if you made your decision before this documentary is not changing
It's
your
kind of everything in this world. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is.
Yep.
I mean,
That's wild, isn't it?
I mean, even
reinforced.
if you were presented with a bunch of facts that would make you be
matter.
like, hey, you need to change your opinion. You were actually wrong. You could
yeah, but where
That wasn't.
Nah.
That wasn't.
Nope.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, I don't believe it. And then you start seeing stuff on the internet, and you're like, well, that's not real. Like right now, there is 1,000% AI edits of this documentary being put onto the internet and being presented as, I found this interesting from the Untold at Netflix thing, and just putting it out there. And it'll be Connor Stallion's face that we didn't really know much.
No.
I didn't really know. I knew him as CMU guy.
Yeah.
I knew his head a lot more from CMU pictures than I did from Michigan stuff. But when he does his interview, good shape guy, obviously ex-military. He's a coach on a high school now, obsessed with ball. But AI could definitely take him and just have him say anything.
Oh, yeah. Jim Harbaugh told me to do all this.
Yeah, Jim Harbaugh and I actually met once a week and just, this is fascinating from it. Some Ohio State fan, not that only Ohio would do that, but somebody could take any of these shots and put any words at all.
Did he say this wasn't him?
Yes, he said it wasn't him.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
You think this guy is me? Look at the jawline. Are you kidding me?
I didn't know Connor Stallions had that bald head that could be sucked on like
Blaine Stewart. Coach Blaine Stewart.
Coach Blaine Stewart.
He's got some McComas in him.
West Virginia Mountaineers. But anyways, so who knows what you got to watch the actual documentary. It's on Netflix, and I assume the conversation will only continue to go exactly how you were having it before watching it, to the point of literally everybody here. But I'm happy it's kind of behind us. Now, what isn't behind us is seemingly petty suspensions. DeMarco Murray, running back coach for Oklahoma, he has been suspended for a game because he talked to 16 recruits or 17 recruits during a period of time in which you can't talk to recruits. This goes back to whenever there was quiet time where you weren't allowed to reach out to recruits, which was made because coaches were sick of having to text recruits all year round. So they made a time period where nobody's allowed to talk so that we all are kind of forced to take a break. Some people, all people, I think, have broken those rules over the years. DeMarco Murray, the most recent one to get punished for it. The Kirk Ferentz tampering stuff before he's suspended for a game. I think there's a wide receiver coach somewhere that got suspended.
At Iowa, too.
At Iowa gets suspended. There's another. So it feels like we are currently in the middle of like the last shit from everything in the past of the NCAA. All the pettiness, the bullshit. Feels like this is the last one, and then we're moving on to the next iteration of college football, which is going to have a salary cap, which is going to have a free agency time, which is going to have a transfer portal rule, which is going to have contracts that I think are understood by both parties. I think there's going to be comps. I think it's going to be CBA negotiate. Like, I think that's all going to happen, but right now we're still dealing with all the pettiness, the petty stuff. Like, you sent a text when you couldn't. That team just delivered a bag of $1 million to that person's front. But but when did they?
There's weird rules too, though. Like if a recruit tweets you, you're allowed to tweet them back. I think in those dead periods. Like, but you can't. If they reach out to you, you can reach. Like, you just can't be the first. There's all these weird things.
Can I send a gift too? Or true. Joining us now is a man who probably knows a little bit more about it, but is excited, I assume, about the future of college football because we're in a transition era, and I think all any of us want is just a little bit of. All right, let's figure out what it is here, because we're living in the past a little bit still with some of the suspensions, but we're very much living in the future. 12-team playoff, money share, money being made. We got to figure out how it's going to look. Ladies and gentlemen, a man that's going to be a part of that process whenever he retires, although he doesn't have a spot in the College Football Playoff Committee selection board, people think he does. That's because he's been a part of the college football world for 30 years. Ladies and gentlemen, the ever-handsome former president of Ohio, Kirk Herbstreit.
When did we move over to the former, AJ, you and I?
I don't know.
I don't know who the current is right now, actually, to tell you the truth.
Oh, really?
Who would it be? It's Kirk has always been. I think Kirk is the sitting president until he decides to
AJ told
give it
me.
up.
No, that's you, bud. I mean, that's you.
You guys are co-chairs.
Maybe the general.
But Kirk, you're aiming that question at the wrong person on this screen. AJ was the one that told us that you guys are no longer presidents of the state of Ohio. I just want to let you know that. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Bingo. That's okay.
Brenneman, take it back.
Who won the award this year?
Is Bobby Carpenter taking the reins?
He's the general.
He's not a president.
There's president and there's a general. You know,
Five-star.
You got to always.
Peacetime.
Yeah, he did get another star.
We were just talking about the Connor Stallions documentary that came out on Netflix, Untold. Some behind-the-scenes stuff. I think we got to know a little bit more about Connor Stallions. He literally was one of the most obsessed humans I've ever seen when it comes to doing what he thought was going to maybe expedite his career going to the top, legitimately. Now, did Jim Harbaugh know? I don't think anything in there tells anybody that he did. If he didn't know, I don't think anything in there reaffirms, whatever the case. We're caught in between a time period now of college football of like yesterday, where we're suspending people for tampering, but then we're also giving millions of dollars and then there isn't deals. And then we're also trying to get to tomorrow. What are your thoughts on where we are right now? How quickly does it come together? And what do you think about some of these, like DeMarco Murray suspended a game, Kirk suspended a game? This Michigan stuff is going to happen at some point this year. What do you think about yesterday and tomorrow kind of meeting in the college football space that we're in right now, Herbie?
I heard you talking about it, and I think eventually the only answer is to try to have some kind of CBA or some kind of an agreement with the players and the future of the sport, which would be, this big division of college football that eventually is going to be settled. I don't think we're settled yet. I still think we're a year or two away from finally having, okay, this is it. What's going to happen with the ACC? If they end up some of these schools get out, is the ACC going to exist? Are they going to stay in the ACC? So I think we need some answers there. But yeah, I think you and I talked with Charlie Baker. We listened to him. I think he's steering the Titanic. I don't think this is something that just because he is a savvy guy and a guy that I think is very impressive, I don't think he can untangle this web just like that. Not to mention, you got to deal with the power brokers of the sport, which are the conference commissioners in the big conferences in the Big Ten and the SEC and the others. So I don't think it's an easy thing. That's why at some point, wouldn't it be great to have just one voice, one commissioner that would be able to run this sport, and his office would be able to care about the entire sport. The reason I think we are where we are is you have conflicting interests. What they care about, in the Mountain West, or let's say the Big 12 or the SEC or everybody's worried about their jurisdiction. Their chancellors, presidents, head coaches, players, fans, their constituents. That's it. That's all they're worried about. They're not worried about the totality of the sport. So it's very hard to move the sport forward when you have all these different agendas and all these different people looking at it through a different lens. So until we get everybody looking through one lens, you're going to have this. Not to mention the NIL space, the rules in Alabama versus Ohio versus California,
Texas
versus Louisiana versus everything's different. So we need some kind of federal rule that's going to say, here's the rule for NIL, or we need a CBA to say, because right now it's just do whatever you want in Louisiana. Oh, over there in Michigan, you guys got to watch out. You can only do this. And so how do you move forward when there's just so much? It's not an easy thing to just come up with an answer. So that's why you get some of this stuff. But according to what we heard from Charlie, some of this small stuff, hey, like you were referring to, I bought him a cheeseburger, or here's a hat. Like I think that stuff's going to go away, the petty stuff. But how we get there ultimately, I think we're all kind of scratching our head wondering if Charlie Baker, I don't know if he has the authority without Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti and other conference commissioners getting on board. Right now, I feel like they're more powerful in college football than the NCAA is.
Is Charlie Baker the right guy to maybe do it, though? Like,
Yeah.
Because after listening to him speak and, like, his vision, it's like, I think maybe he would be one of the humans that I think I would put in there. Sankey, obviously, is another name that'll get mentioned. Petitti is a name that'll get mentioned. Saban's name is obviously going to get mentioned because of his connections. I think I heard your name get mentioned before, not by Florida State people, but by a lot of other people in this entire thing. And I think it's going to take place. It is quite a quagmire right now, for certain, but I think it's going to get figured out because the popularity of the sport through the roof. Did you see the numbers for Georgia Tech, Florida State? 5 million. That's the biggest week 0 game ever. People yearning for college football, loving that real football is happening. College game days numbers are huge. Anything associated with college football, big. Anything associated with football, big. It's a beautiful time in our sport. So that's why I hope these petty things don't continue to pop up, because every time a petty thing pops up, we have to bring up all the bullshit. Like we have to bring up this is just a stupid thing, because the sport, the tradition, the fans, the players, the coaches, it is wonderful, and more people are watching it now than ever, Kirk. And this 12-team playoff is a big piece of that entire conversation, I think.
Yeah, I think that, and I think the summers get long. I think we get excited for the start of football. The way you guys represent every day on your show, when you football, I think that represents what we all feel. It's just exciting to see games back. I mean, week 0, there are people watching, not just Florida State play against Georgia Tech, but they're watching all these games. There was like 3 or 4. I think Nevada was playing SMU. Gumpy, of course, that guy, he follows every game. Anybody who plays anything, my man is dialed in on.
That's right. You got to take advantage of those books.
We love the Lobos.
There you go, Lobos. Yeah.
On the plane with the Lobos. That was awesome.
Yeah. That was a blast, by the way. But in that game, SMU was down and they fought back. We're paying attention over the Atlantic, but I think this week is going to be bananas. I mean, you got real games. You guys keep putting that graphic up of some of the games are going to be here. Week 1 starts Thursday night. I guess the big one is for Wiley, North Carolina, and Minnesota. Friday night, you got some great games, and then you can just see what's going on over the weekend. Massive games with Georgia and Clemson. I know Georgia. Look at that; they're favored by almost 2 touchdowns. I tell you, I think Clemson's going to win the ACC. I think they're ahead of the playoff. I think they're much better, and I think they got a lot of pride on their roster. I think that game's a lot closer. Miami and Florida, holy cow. Billy Napier, you talk about a lot at stake in that one. Notre Dame and A&M, we're going to be down there for that one. Can't wait. Then we fly over to Las Vegas to call the LSU-USC game. So, man, it is...
These are a lot of November games, brother, in August.
Man,
doesn't it feel like that?
Massive.
Doesn't it feel like that? And I think this is one of the good things that is taking place with the transition period we're in college football is the marquee games with the amount of money that's getting dumped into these contracts are going to be big all year. Like, I think it's October 12th or something like that. Saturday, October 12th is like from noon till midnight. It is just marquee, and that's just October.
Yeah.
That's not even, you haven't even got into November. So there's a lot of good coming out of this, and week 1 is about to be off and running. Go ahead, AJ.
Kirk, with all this NIL stuff going on, all the movement, I guess, on college rosters, do you think the quality of college football is going to be better here moving forward in the next 5 to 10 years, or you think it might take a step back?
Well, I think listen to some of these coaches. You know, when you were playing, if you got to a point, not you, but your era, if a guy got to be a point of maybe a third rounder, you know, his coach might say, hey, you probably need to come back. And a lot of times that player would listen to other folks. And many times they would go off to the NFL. Some guys would go off to the NFL and not even get drafted, you know, because they were just done with school. I think the NIL with that guy, if you're a first rounder, obviously you're going to go. But that guy that maybe is second, third, fourth, or later, I think he's thinking now, man, I think I'm going to stay another year and I'm going to play some more college football. I'm going to take advantage of the NIL, make some more of that money, and then I'm going to go maybe improve my stock and then go to the NFL. So I think if anything, I think the portal is different because I think we're getting used to it, but it's still a little bit strange. Like I'm calling, you know, these games this weekend, just doing preparation. And it's amazing to see, like on A&M's roster with Mike Elko, who left Duke to go to Texas A&M to become the head coach. You know, he looked around that roster, I'm sure, after Jimbo Fisher left, he probably lost a lot. And he's like, man, we need some guys in the secondary. We need some D linemen. And we need some receivers. And they went out. And now you got to try to bring it together and gel and create continuity through winter conditioning, spring ball, and then into camp. And you really don't know what you have until you go out there and play, you know, as you guys know. And that's scattered all over college football. So on one hand, I think the NIL is going to make guys stick around. And then on the other hand, I think with the portal, it's about who can come together. You know, I just brought up A&M, but Notre Dame has some guys, like 6 or 7 guys that are portal guys. Then I go to Sunday. I mean, LSU, they've got guys. USC has a bunch of guys. So that's the norm now. But who does the best job at creating it? Because as much as it's about the individuality on Twitter, and as much as it's about your individual brand, the goal is still to win football games as a team. So which coaching staffs do a good job of creating that bond that's going to allow you to get to like a lot of times people bring up Ohio State. If it's not now, then when? You know, they bought in, they're going to win. It's like
I do that on game day actually.
But I'm saying, dude,
I was right
at the end of the day, when was the last time Ohio State took the field with a shortage of talent?
Well, not this much talent. I heard it straight from the horse's mouth.
Best ever.
But I'm saying,
you don't
Marvin
respect
Harrison
Smartervest?
Against
Jackson
Michigan last
Smith
year.
and Jigba. I mean, Ohio State has had the last 10 years, Ohio State's had NFL players all over their roster. I don't look at this roster, I really don't, and go, oh my God, they have Caleb Dahn.
$20 million.
Holy cow, Ohio State's serious this year. They got Will Howard, who's going to get beat out. He was going to get beat out at Kansas State.
Wow.
Holy cow. They got Will Howard. Oh, my God. They got Junkins, who was a backup at Ole Miss.
Like, he can't get tackled on a video game.
Two-time All
He's not going to start at Ohio State. Trevion Henderson's. So I don't. Ohio State's had it's about, are they going to come together? It's about, are they going to be a team?
This is rap.
It's not about who they, what are you guys bullshitting about?
He's de-recruit. It's good, Kirk. You're de-recruiting him.
Yeah,
you're
rap boy.
So
No,
Coach Day.
well, you're trying
Coach Day loves hearing it.
You're trying to, because, I mean, as it was coming out of my mouth, I certainly was like, gosh, this is putting a lot of heat on Day, but it's already been there.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
I mean, they spent 20
I think Jim Tressel and Urban Meyer.
Bingo, that's what I'm saying. And then the amount of money that's been spent, $20 million allegedly, and then you say, oh, they got Caleb Downs, they're going to be different. I was told that dude was a Hall of Fame player literally the day he stepped on
He's, you know, before you say that, Minka Fitzpatrick, because I've covered all these Bama teams. Minka Fitzpatrick showed up as a true freshman. I watched his first scrimmage. I was down there at the stadium down in Tuscaloosa. Kirby was the defensive coordinator. They had all these NFL first rounders everywhere. And I was like, I got done with the scrimmage. I go down to the field and I go to Kirby. I go, who's that 29? And he goes, that's our freshman, Mink. He's out of Jersey. And I was like, that guy looks different. Like when he's not in, he's standing next to a senior. He looks like he's asking questions, and he's like, he's got a chance to be pretty special. So what you're saying, Caleb Downs is that kind of guy. Not to mention, Mink could play the money backer, nickel. He could play corner. He could play safety. That dude was doing everything as a freshman.
Yeah, I think
you
Caleb
knew
might have
what he
been
was
tackling.
going to become.
Right.
And What's that?
Caleb, I think, led Alabama in tackles last year, right? So you're
yeah,
saying,
he did
like,
as a true freshman.
Yeah.
So I agree. I think he's great, but they've had a lot of good ones come through there. He's going to help Ohio State immensely just with his energy and just his leadership. He's just an old soul. You know, as some of those guys come around, you know, AJ's played with guys like that. But you look back at Ohio State's roster, go back to 2015. They won it in 14. They came back with the Bosa brothers, I think, or the Joey Bosa. Look at that roster in 2015. That was the year they played Michigan State at home, and everybody got mad. They didn't give the ball to Zeke Elliott, and they ended up getting upset by a backup quarterback at Michigan State. That team was maybe the best roster I've ever seen in 2015. So the point is, they've had pretty good rosters. It's not like they went from having an average roster to all of a sudden buying a big, rich roster. They've already had a lot, you know. And,
yeah, you
and
guys
now
have been
we'll
buying
see.
teams for a long time. Say it, Herbie. Yeah, say it. Yeah, we still got little petty rules.
Tattoos.
Yeah, we understand. We understand that.
AJ, you get paid?
AJ wasn't cheap.
I was never offered anything, Kirk.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, right.
They gave you that
No,
baby
that's true.
alligator.
Hey, he's an elk. That's an elk right there.
Yeah, it's Centerville Elk. You're right. But immediately after, as soon as he was done playing football, obviously, hey, will you sign these 10 things for $150,000?
Exactly.
And that's what having a fan base as passionate as Ohio State fans becomes.
Well, that was you said that was post career.
Yeah, it was post career.
Once you're done once your senior season's over, yeah, you can go sign autographs
that's
around
what
Ohio.
happens when you're done.
Okay.
Bullshit.
Listen,
By the way,
go ahead.
stay next, please, at Centerville Friday night.
Oh no! How do we feel? Is
AJ's
Chase going to feel a little something going back to Dad's town?
Gonna be a great atmosphere, Kirk. You know that.
Honorary captain?
No, I'm just.
You should fly. You should helicopter the ball in. Helicopter the ball in. Like I used to tell them, Kirk. Mike Hartsock used to bring the ball into the 50-yard line, and land it from the helicopter. You should be that guy.
At Centerville, you guys had the ball getting thrown out of a helicopter?
Exactly.
No, landing, getting out, and handing the ball to the official to
Landing
start
at
the game.
the 50-yard line.
That's what Centerville football is?
Like the weather chopper. No, the weather
Fedco.
chopper for the local news.
Fedco? John Fedco showed up with the football?
Donardo would have. Yeah, Donardo would have done.
Donardo was on the Doppler. Fedco was on the ground and in the chopper. Man.
The Fedco Zone. Welcome to Fedco Zone.
Man, you want to get on a Fedco Zone. I had a tackle against
What is
Keysport. Boy, I got showed on the Fedco Zone. Never been more pumped up in my life.
He was the local sports guy who flew around in the chopper and showed all of the high school highlights on Friday nights. It was electric.
It was like
chopper?
Yeah, chopper. Fedco Zone, dude.
We used to prank call a show all the time. It's great.
No way.
Yeah, asshole kids in Pittsburgh really were a
He would say,
problem.
welcome to
Like Dabo?
the Fedco Zone.
Dabo, he ain't taking no.
Dabo's done with that shit.
Dabo's done with phone calls.
Yeah.
Smart play.
Yeah.
Smart play. I like the way that whole thing goes. Let's talk.
That show still exists.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
I didn't know if he retired. He's still going.
Oh, you tell me. Your show sucks. Jeez.
Yeah,
Is that what you were saying? You were saying that
Breaking.
show. How's that show? Is that what you said?
No, I thought maybe like in Dayton, the guys that AJ is referring to, they've retired.
No.
That guy's still going.
Oh, you're talking about Fedco?
Yeah, Fedco's
Yeah.
Fedco does not hit the chopper anymore.
What?
Yeah.
He's retired.
Since when?
Yeah, they don't put him up in a chopper.
He might be.
Omar Williams is done, right, AJ?
No. Don't say
believe
that
so.
about Fedco.
Yeah.
He can't be dead.
No.
Please.
Oh,
Please
no.
don't.
Oh no.
Please
He'll
don't.
never die in my heart.
Not on
I know
Cut
that.
Day.
Even it does not matter if his soul is still in a body here.
It was natural causes,
What was
right?
the budget for that show?
Fedco's
200 million.
forever. What do you think?
Did he film from the chopper? Were
think he's
the
still
highlights from the chopper?
Yeah,
Yes.
one hand on a highlight, one hand on a rope, and then his legs were holding the ball, and then Fedco would drop down and say, "Now you guys can play the football."
Play ball.
And
No, it would start with the aerial of the stadium, and then they would go to the highlights from the field camera.
Yeah, come on. This is standard operating stuff. You guys know. You had Centerville, Ohio. You had three choppers
as-
overhead.
same as Hartsock.
How's St. X going to do against Centerville? We can be okay?
I bet you if there were a betting line in Vegas, I would say Centerville is the home team, probably a 2-point favorite, I would guess.
Wow.
1 or 2 point favorite.
Well, we know AJ is actually going to the coin toss, right, AJ? You're going to be at the coin toss for this weekend's.
I'm going to be at West Virginia. I'm not sure if I can make it back in time, but I'll try.
Oh, yeah, because I think
can.
there's a ride.
I can't wait for Friday for you guys in Morgantown. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to be wild.
No, I don't think so. It's going to be a great time. It's just going to be good.
No. You thought the pub in North or in
We're not doing
Ireland
that.
would do it.
We're not doing that again.
This
Type of wild.
where are you going to be? Where's the location this week?
So it's where the original stadium was in Morgantown, West Virginia. It is now near the Life Sciences building, which is a building that every freshman has to have class in pretty much. And there's like a grassy knoll, if you will.
I hope not.
That is, yeah, don't love it, especially with everything that's coming out.
Right.
But there's like a grassy field that is certainly knoll-like in between two buildings where our stage will be. They're telling students that they can't get there until 9 a.m. on Friday, no overnight camping, and the fact that that was even a thought that they had to put that on there is wild to me. I'm excited to see if anybody comes. If they do, can't wait to have a blast. We got some surprise guests, coming through. We got some West Virginia legends, and it's the biggest home opener since 1998 in Morgantown, and the whole town's buzzing.
Give me your top 5 WVU football legends.
Yeah,
your personal Pat McAfee top 5.
We'll do that on Friday, I do believe. So
I'm curious.
Yeah, I know you are. That's great. Watch on Friday.
Me too.
We will. We have a piece being made right now for the Open. Like I'm gonna really try to let the world know that like there's a lot of history in this town.
There is.
And this town is. I don't want to say the Big 12 isn't home. But it is like the Big 12. We are so far removed from, and that's probably Neil Brown calling you right now saying, make sure you mention my goatee, which he looks super cool.
Yep. Yeah.
But like WVU ending up in the Big 12 instead of like the Big 10 or the ACC, I think for some people, especially in the area, maybe forget about West Virginia a little bit because they're not playing against their team. It's like Morgantown is a phenomenal college town. West Virginia has a lot of history, and there's been a lot of superstars that have come through there. Now, with that being said, I don't like that James Franklin's already saying, like, yeah, don't like my guys providing any bulletin board material for anybody else. So we'll say it's like, if I'm helping feed this Penn State team that doesn't need any more assistance after everything has happened to them to get them motivated going to Morgantown, that is obviously something because they're a great team coming in, ranked at number 8. And with this 12-team playoff, I think they have more hopes and dreams than they have in the past because they knew you lose to Ohio State, you lose to Michigan, it's over. Like, we got no shot. It's going to be them because the way it was East-West. Now, 12-team, no division. It's like Penn State has more hope than ever. West Virginia does too. It's like this is a celebration of what's kicking off here in West Virginia. That's kind of how we're viewing Friday, if you will.
Yeah, man. It's going back as a kid watching college football. West Virginia, Penn State was a game. Jeff Hostetler, I remember watching those games, and they played Penn State early in the year, and it was always a big rivalry. I'm so excited that they're going to be playing that game this weekend. What a way to start the season for both those fan bases. And you're right. It's a different time. The Big 12, it's just weird. You think of the future. We just talked about where this thing's going to land in a couple years. Who knows? I'm not saying that West Virginia is going to, get out of the conference that they're currently in, but how great would it be if we could get back to them playing against teams that their fans get excited to be playing against? Penn State would obviously be an out-of-conference game, but teams like Virginia Tech or who knows where Cincinnati's going to be, Louisville, teams like that, I always really loved watching WVU. And people who have not been there, it is your typical wild on Saturday. That town comes alive. They believe in their Mountaineers. And it's going to be wild. It'll be a great show you guys have on Friday. I can't wait to watch it.
You were calling most of those Thursday night games, right, when we were playing in all of them?
Man, we did. It seems like we had a ton of those games on Thursday night when they were in the Big East, and you were a part of those teams. And Miami, Florida, of course, was competitive back in those days. But Louisville and Rutgers, all those teams were really good, along with WVU. So,
UConn.
Wow.
UConn. Oh, yeah.
That era.
Hey,
that era.
UConn was up there.
Yeah.
No
That
doubt.
program's done, but
They were.
We might be in the Big 12 in the future.
Rutgers.
Yeah, they were.
yeah. Basketball school.
What happened? You guys didn't. The Big Ten was scared of West Virginia. Is that what happened? Do I recall?
No. think so.
I think it was an
not at all.
academic thing.
Academics. Who
Whoa.
cares? We're talking
It's a
about
Harvard.
sports.
You got public Ivies only. All right.
What's that?
Public Ivies only.
What does that mean?
It means get your
Coach them up there. Come on, coach them up there, Ty.
Get your GPA up. All right.
Who cares about GPA? We're talking about FOOTBALL.
Well, these are student human athletes, okay? Because guess what? Not all of them are going to be going to the NFL, but all of them are going to be going pro in something other than sports. Remember those commercials?
Boom. Oh, yeah.
All right.
Those are my favorite commercials.
Nailed it. Yep.
Over 10,000 student athletes.
Listen, only you can prevent forest fires, okay? If we're going to start doing this entire thing, okay, if you just want to go back and forth here, but
It makes sense. Them, Notre Dame. Whenever we do this again, bring West Virginia and Notre Dame in the Big Ten, and then we can call quits.
and if it means anything, I do believe they bulldozed a lot of part of town that was potentially bringing down the academics.
Okay.
And really? From what I've told, I don't love it because that's where I lived. I lived in those areas, actually on the.
Dude, why? I can't imagine you in college. Oh my God.
It's too much. Did too much too quickly. Had a blast. Should have focused more, but here we are, and I'm very lucky that I was a West Virginia Mountaineer.
AJ, can you imagine him in college?
No, I can see how you could bring a good spark to a college football program, though. I could see it.
Yeah, I guess. Yep.
I'm talking about after the game.
Yeah, well,
that's what I'm saying too. That's what I'm saying. The bonding moments when Pat's trying to run up a wall and flip backwards.
Well, excuse me, I didn't try. I did those things.
Succeeded.
Yeah, and me and my guy Thor, we were out every night, and because we hung out with basically every department, defense department, they're out on what nights? Offense is out on what nights? Special teams obviously going out on these nights. GAs are out on this particular night. So, I got a chance really. Now, doing that, you're not going to be perfect, obviously. You're going to happen to piss into some alleys, get some underages and stuff like that. That's going to end up being on your record for a little bit. And that type of stuff's going to happen. But what are you supposed to do whenever you shut down every bathroom in town at midnight and you're 50 penny pitchers? What am I supposed to do? Just piss my pants? Okay, I guess we're in Ireland again all of a sudden. I mean, what is it's just... I had a great time. I was lucky to be a Mountaineer. Happy to be going back. Pumped to be going back.
Did you ever go out with Owen Schmidt?
No.
Did you ever? Did he tackle? I picture him tackling like dumpsters. Like just.
So Owen, for those that don't recall, was a runaway beer truck, and he was a good friend of mine in college, and we went out on a pretty regular basis. He was 1 year ahead of me. For those that don't recall, ended up with the Seattle Seahawks as a fullback.
Yes.
And
didn't he take his helmet off or something and bang his head?
His first start, offense is getting announced, and his first ever start in the NFL is offense is getting announced. And he comes out, and Owen is electric, always electric. He is always great to be around. I mean, that's his thing. He comes out, takes his helmet, and he's like, I know what'll get these motherfuckers going. Starts banging his head off the helmet because he had a rock head. We
got to have video of that.
Yep, I'm sure it's somewhere. And he gashes himself so hard. So bad.
Blood everywhere.
Had to get stitches, missed the start. Could not get on for the first place, so he missed his start. But I think, honestly, I couldn't picture.
What a player.
So good. He was Pat, Steve, and Owen were the reason. Because we had to dive to Owen, right? And Owen could run 4.55, 4.6.
No, I'm saying I'm guessing he was he 240?
255, 250.
And running 4.5.
And hang cleaning like 600 pounds too. Like you're talking about just like full specimen, this guy. Full.
Yeah, there we go.
That's Owen Schmidt football right there. That is Owen Schmidt football.
My bad.
Also one of the most beloved guys in the locker room by everybody. Could hammer beers.
He's like Mike Allstott.
Bingo. Walked on at West Virginia. Was a bouncer at some bars whenever he was as a freshman, so he could pay for his schooling. If you learn about his entire family and everything like that, earns a scholarship, becomes a runaway beer truck, becomes one of the most pivotal parts of our entire team, which would obviously lead to the growth and expansion of West Virginia as a whole. But boy, pounded beers. I mean, absolutely. I don't know if it was you that phrased him as the runaway beer truck, but whoever did, as we heard it, we're like, that seems like pretty good. That is the perfect description of the guy. We can't wait to get back there. Let's get back to some Big Ten talk, though, shall we? Because the national champions, the conversation, I'm scared, is going to be about this Connor Stallions doc, as opposed to how they're going to do this.
What does Pete think of the new Netflix show?
Yeah, what does Pete think of Connor Stallions is Untold on Netflix?
Well, suffice to say, I'm a little disappointed because, I basically cracked the whole case open, and they didn't give me any fucking credit in the Netflix shirt. Didn't see my shelf once on there. Now, yeah, sure, in the media cycles afterwards, I'll get the sneaky Pete, the greasy Pete from all the Michigan fans out there. But I think they could have done it a little bit better. I was ahead of this Connor Stallions stuff before anyone else, and then Netflix comes prancing in, and now they're the heroes. They crack the code. I don't think so. So yeah, let's just say I've got my big boy pants on, and I'm kind of ready to crack my next big story, which I don't know might be coming this weekend in College Station.
Really? Wow! I can't wait to hear that. I don't like that they cut you out of it completely, Ty Pete.
Well, again, it's horseshit, but, I mean, what are you going to do? A lot of times they say there's only room for one superstar, and they didn't want to take the spotlight or the shine off Connor Stallions, per se.
Ty Pete, I heard you worked the crowd a little bit on College Game Day.
Well, yeah, I mean, when people are chanting your name and foaming at the mouth to kind of, see you get them going, I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, again, it's entertainment after all, right?
All right, let's stay with Michigan. We love you, Pete. We love you, Pete. Let's stay with Michigan. Tone has a question for you, Herbie.
Yeah, Herbie, I can't remember if you had him in the playoffs or not, but I am fascinated by Michigan. 18 starters lost, I think 13 drafted. We don't know if Orji or Tuttle or whoever's going to be the quarterback, and then they have two of the best defenders in the country, in Mason Graham and Will Johnson. Week one, Fresno's no joke with Tedford and Mikey Keene at quarterback. What do you think Michigan is going to be this year?
I think, like a lot of these teams, I think around the quarterback position, they're going to be great. I know they lost a lot of leadership more than anything. The reason they got to where they got, it was not just J.J. McCarthy and his playmaking ability, but it was obviously the leadership up front of that offensive line. Those guys played so much ball. Blake Corum, just look around that team on defense. Sanistrell, they were fantastic as a group. Going back to what we said earlier, they came together, and then you lose a large percentage of that. So, who's the new leaders? I don't think from a talent standpoint you're going to watch them and say, "Wow, they're just not a talented team anymore." And I remember talking earlier this summer with Sherrone Moore, and he said, a lot of people think we don't have people back, but these guys have played a ton of football. They just were more in a role of kind of that 1B type of guys, so they would come off the bench and still get 30 or 40 snaps. So I think they're more experienced than people want to give them credit. It's just going to come down to, can they find a quarterback to run that system? They are not an offense that in this era of finding a Caleb Williams. That's not who they are. They're more of, we got to run the football. We need a tight end. We need a fullback, which, by the way, they have. We got to run. We got to hit play action. We got to be smart. We got to be efficient. We got to punt the ball. They play an old school style of football, and I think because of that, you don't have to rely on that quarterback to be a savior. And so, if they can block out all the Netflix, and are they going to be suspended? Are they going to get in trouble? Or all the stuff around them regarding the NCAA, which I think is just going to bring them probably as players closer together. I do have them in the playoff. I do think they're going to be better than people think. I don't have them winning the Big Ten. I had Ohio State winning the Big Ten. I had Oregon in the Big Ten winning the national championship once we get to the playoff. But I do have Michigan making it, which would probably get them at that, 9-3, 10-2 mark. I think would get them into the playoff. What do I have? Is it 11 seed there against Texas?
This 12-team playoff format, whenever we put them up on game day and I got to see everybody's, man. I mean, I know it's a long time away and we got to take a lot of different journeys to get to this point. Yeah. But these first-round games with home field advantages, my God.
Electric.
I cannot.
I know.
It is. I know you've got to experience it for like 20 years or whatever. So, and you still get like, I don't want to say goosebumps, but I think you do still get goosebumps whenever you walk into the stadium.
Kidding me?
How could you not?
I mean,
the way these
I'm worried about my 10 seed there. They still can, obviously they can get back in position.
Who's that? Oh, that's Florida State.
I have Florida State there at 10, but we're off to an 0-1 start. So they
lost to Georgia Tech.
No, they did, everybody. And remember,
They did lose.
This is not indicative of how their
That's
season.
That's what I heard. Someone said that.
Have you seen Norvell's record without Jordan Travis?
Wait a minute.
It's like 2-9 or something. 2-9, I think, without Jordan Travis.
We don't need to do this.
I'm not doing it.
I know you're not. I know you haven't.
No, Gumpy told me they lost. That's the only reason I even
knew. Herbie has them in the playoff.
He does.
Has them in the playoff. Picked them to win. Seamus is the only one to pick Georgia Tech. And I think after we saw how passionate the Florida State fans were this weekend towards Herbie for their team, Obviously, we are still incredibly bummed out for you with the way last year went. Once again, there are other teams that felt incredibly bummed out as well, but weren't undefeated like you guys. With that 4-team system, inevitably, somebody was going to be left out every single year. That's why this year, even with the loss week 1, you're still got everything in front of you.
Yep.
Still got everything in front of you, which is exactly what you put out, and exactly your immediate reaction was like, 12-team playoff, they can still make it if they figure it out. DJ Uyunglele is going to have to figure it out a little bit. They're going to have to play better football, but this is why this year is better than any year of the past, in my eyes.
Amen. On one hand, you like to think every game matters, and you want to feel like that urgency to win every game. But then on the flip side, what you just said is very accurate. I mean, Florida State, their fans are upset now with not me, but about the team losing and being 0-1. But what you just said, they got a game Monday night. I think somebody said earlier there's no Monday Night Football. Florida State BC is a Monday night game without the NFL this week. So a chance to get, a big audience, regroup, get this thing turned around, get to 1-1, and away we go. So, yeah, they have so much in front of them. It's just a matter of putting that disappointment behind them and still thinking about trying to have a big year.
And you are a massive fan of Norvell. We think he can cultivate culture. We hope it happens for him, because getting to experience your passion, although it's pretty negative at times, cool to see. And that's why college football is as great as it is. We can't thank you enough for the time, Herbie.
You got it, man. See you guys. Have a great time in Morgantown. I'll see you Saturday.
All right, I'll see you down in College Station. Ladies and gentlemen, Kirk Herbstreit.
Yay!
29 years.
Long time. Crazy.
Long time. All right. We're off tomorrow. We'll be back Thursday with a big program. And then Friday, we're live in Morgantown. I cannot wait for football to continue to be awesome, which it is. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change their life. We'll see you Thursday. Right on Screws. Right on Screws. All right, AJ, we got something big and special happening right now. So we have to take like a 5-10 minute break. And then we'll be back on the other side with some magic with Tony Smoke Stewart. We'll be back with George Kittle. We'll be back with AJ Hawk. We got nothing but great shit in about 5-10 minutes. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change your life. Take 5.
Tonight is a night where everything's going to be remembered. Every play, every sweat, every fight.
Hop in the car, watch it go vroom, vroom. I told her mom that I will soon. Know as a child back in the womb.
Hey, let's have a national championship Monday, huh?
My name's Pat McAfee. I've started this show 2 different occasions already. This will be the 3rd. Wow. It's 2023. We eat adversity for lunch. There's just so many different forms of gummies coming in my mouth.
Boss man, can you do a kickflip?
100 for it? 100 for it?
Oh!
Come on, bro. That was awesome.
Hey, this little teddy bear is cool. This little round thing. Sweet. All right, I feel pretty good for this ESPN party. Let's go have a blast in there. Boom. Need you to do a red carpet. I've never done a red carpet before.
I got a poop, sorry.
I don't know if now's the time.
We're invited to the ESPN party, and now we are all sitting on a red carpet. We had no idea this was coming, obviously. We thought we were just getting some free drinks.
A lot of people on the internet say I look tired. What's that all about? I'm a massive fan of Posner. He was getting motivational speeches in between songs. He was playing other people's songs. He was telling people to stay down. We're going to make a moment. Only on the count of 3, we're going to go crazy.
Oh, I know. Sad song. Sad song.
Oh, yeah.
A couple of these. Bring it up. Bring it up.
Who's up? What do you want?
What'd you do?
Gotta make it back again, baby. It's gotta last until 9 o'clock.
Happy birthday, sack of shit.
Yeah. So fired up to be here.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I got a necktie and everything.
Yeah. Holy shit. Tim Tebow's here. Oh my God.
Look at that cut.
The most handsome shot in our show's history. Nick Saban has been spotted at SoFi.
Great work in the back, Fox team. Boys crushed it. Now we got game day, then the mega cast. Let's go. Hey, let's have a night.
Obviously, the enemy of great is good. The enemy of a dynasty is winning one championship and letting it go. Prime, you're obviously going to Colorado, a place that's been looking for some sort of championship for 20 years. You're also one of the greatest speakers I've ever heard. What are you saying to your team?
You can't get here and all of a sudden change.
Yeah.
You don't want to see a different mannerism of somebody, and especially the coaches. See, everybody's talking about the players.
Yeah.
But you got to coach the coaches, too.
Did you smile there, too?
I saw
Were you smiling?
I
saw a smile.
I do that every now and then.
The rat poison, smiling. That's embedded fourth quarter perfection. Matthew Stafford, fourth quarter perfection. Big moments, Tebow perfection. We got some real magic here tonight, don't we? I love that toad that takes those mushrooms. With that being said, Stetson Bennett's 25 years old. He's so damn comfortable. Darnell Washington's the backup tight end. He's 6'7", 270. Brock Bowers, best player on the field. The defense full of dogs. Give me the Georgia Bulldogs go back-to-back. First time since this man and his Alabama squad. I love the Bulldogs tonight, barking all over the place, Coach.
Here we go, huh? A little bit of rush from old game day down the field. We went all the way to the roof to come back. We are so sorry. All right, let's roll. I gotta get to the sleep. Then I'm gonna hop over the sleep thing. Good, Brad.
You are looking at SoFi Stadium, where we'll be crowning a national champion for our college football season tonight. And the Dogs are on the board early. Wide open.
That's the shot that they wanted, baby.
Oh, Stetson Bennett with his second touchdown in the first half. Pick.
Oh, no.
Georgia's first down. One-handed touchdown. Brock Bowers, touchdown. It is currently 45-7. It is 52-7. Touchdown.
This is just a good old back home ass whooping.
It's a blowout, and that's the way the cookie crumbles. Hey-o. That son of a bitch, Uga, is having the night of his life.
Wow.
It's raining indoors in Los Angeles. This is God taking a tinkle on something magical, isn't it? Let's get that.
Get him on camera.
That mustache.
Holy smoke.
Holy smokes.
Are you a firefighter?
Good for you, bro. Thanks for your service. First down, Horned Frogs on a 2nd and 3. Why don't we call a game? Holy hell, Tim Tebow is coming. Tebow, we're live.
We're on.
We're live right now. Welcome back to SoFi Stadium. Right before the break, an extra point almost killed Tim Tebow. Natural instincts had to take in place. I could not lose the greatest human on earth, and I'm happy they gave you that ball, Tim. Tone, act like you're Sonny Dykes, please.
All right, boss. First half didn't go our way. We're doing this for the great state of Texas. You know who else was down 31 points?
Who's that?
The Italians.
All right, let's take the tractor another round. What are you watching out there, Coach?
Honestly, they're better off grabbing Luka Doncic out of the crowd and maybe lining him up next to Quentin guys in that receiver. Because they can't do a damn thing.
We decided Tebow here, formerly known as praying for this TCU team to do something. So you put your hands up, play that song, butterflies fly away. Thank you for your service, sir. You're a badass, man.
Those other Americans, I wouldn't be here.
What a run, huh? The boys crushed it. This shit TCU sucks. Be so mean all the time.
What?
That's all she wrote for college football season. What a year. Let's fucking get home. Gentlemen, congratulations. Thank you so much for taking the time where you're contractually obligated to, so I appreciate you guys being here.
I want to be here. I just want you to know.
Come on.
I have watched you do your thing, man. Nothing but respect and praise for you.
Will you touch this? Me too, man. Way to go, number 2 overall, baby.
Dench, dude.
Boys, you're calling a national championship again, Kai Schmidt.
Unbelievable. Should we be here?
No!
Probably not.
No
but
way. I kicked the ball to myself on that.
Oh, yeah.
Right there, I kicked the ball to myself.
That's right.
Should have told CJ that.
Maybe the most athletic thing I've ever done in my entire being. Well, CJ, yeah, happy to see you.
Completely ruined.
Everybody's happy to see you.
Ruined the line. I picked him.
Really
I picked
happy
him to win.
see
I'm
you,
all right.
CJ. Congratulations on winning the AFC South as a rookie quarterback.
It's a big deal. First time ever with a rookie.
You okay?
That's a big deal, CJ. Dude, you're absurd, bro.
Thank you.
For how young you are?
Playing in Indianapolis, that was probably the loudest stadium I played in NFL.
wow.
That was like a college atmosphere.
How about that?
Pete, you got 2 knees, 2 ankles?
2 knees, 2 ankles, and some big boy pants that slide up around.
Move along like another day. Move along.
That guy's penis go.
That guy had a lot of courage. Good question.
It's ice cold in there. It's ice cold.
It's the first documented button dick. Game day set. That's what's being said. I didn't come up with that. That's what's being said.
It was our show, 3 hours, 15 minutes. Then it was a 2-hour gap. Then it was game day, straight in national championship field pass.
For 2 schools that are going to be talking about this day for the rest of their lives. Both of these teams being chastised from all different angles. Washington, there's no way this team from the Pac-12 in their last year with Kalen DeBoer as the head coach can continue to win. They're going to stumble somewhere. They didn't. Then you think about Michigan. 2 separate suspensions for their head coach, and all they've done is stay the course. And tonight, banners, rings, reunion conversations forever on the line. What an honor it is to be here.
Look at his belt buckle like yours, man.
Belt buckle. Like with some light ranching to do down here in Houston. He comes out of his cuts, he sees people, he shakes them, and he doesn't look anywhere near as small as you would think. He's powerful. I love Blake. A lot of NFL GMs are saying, wait a second, is Michael Penix maybe one of the top 3 guys to go to the NFL? Because what he does with the football is stupendous. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the national championship game for the 2023 college football season. That'll see the Washington Huskies representing the Pac-12 in its final year, taking on that team led by that man, the Michigan Wolverines and Jim Harbaugh. We're bouncing. We are house calling. Donovan Edwards, touchdown in the national championship. Extra point is up and good. D-Bot? D-Bot with the one-hand grab to start the national championship.
And maybe D-Bot.
Con man, what's the decibels over there?
Yeah, Pat, the decibels are high right now. Let me tell you, it's 106.4. This might be the line.
Good decibel meter. We have actual gimmicks. Depending upon the night, does JJ go to the NFL, which Mel Kiper has him as the 5th-rated quarterback in the draft? What does that mean, Mel?
Well, you know, it means that he's got the physical and tangible tools in his head to be a first-round quarterback. I think whether he wins or loses. Oh, there's
Donovan Edwards running into our lap. That's 2 for the Michigan Wolverines and 2 for Donovan Edwards. Pete Thamel, how long's that sign blocker been doing it, and how has he gotten to a level where he's the best in the game?
He's been a Michigan man for quite some time now. And obviously, he wouldn't have a job if it wasn't for that pesky bastard Connor Stallion. But Coach Harbaugh, you know, he found a place for him in the Michigan family.
A beautiful moment between the Harbaugh brothers on the sideline. The one on the right there, number 1 seed in the AFC. The one on the left, up 17-3 in the national championship. Third option, McMillan, touchdown with a flag on Michigan. That'll stand 17-10. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Hey-o! Michigan has the rock.
Tony dropped his mic. Tony dropped his mic.
Oh, no.
Oh, no need.
Welcome back to the national championship where elite athletes perform and Tone Diggs does something to embarrass his entire family.
I'm ready if Penix goes down. Sling. Boom!
Snap, handoff, play Cora. Has blockers. Breaks a tackle. Touchdown, Michigan. Penix is left. He hasn't looked there yet. And the Michigan Wolverines are going to be national champions for the first time in a long time. Oh, yes, we got a streaker, security spearing a guy's losing his pants. Cop's on top of him. Wow. Cross body. Wow. Cop's got his knee on his sternum. Say, listen, Michigan man.
Oh. Bag him and tag him, boys.
I think Pink Shirt pulled a quad.
Pink Shirt is not ready. What a win, dude. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Dan in Connecticut. Lovely place here on the 5 Energy phone line. What's going on, Dano?
Oh, what's up, Pat McAfee?
Dan, you are too young to listen to this show. I can tell. I think. How old?
I'm not Dan. I am Owen.
Mitt. Owen, how old are you?
It's so different.
I am at 8.5.
Oh, that's cute.
8.5.
If you're telling us you're half age, you're too young to be listening.
That's a record.
It stinks.
What's on your mind, pal?
What do you want to talk about, Owen?
I want to talk about how inspiring this show is and how you're inspiring this whole entire world with how you're talking about sports and how you're talking about your life experience.
Thank you, Owen.
Owen, thank you.
Love you, Owen.
Thank you,
Owen. I'm taking her on the
And also, fuck Boston College.
I will let Owen know, if you're still listening, Owen, you're inspiring.
Best kid ever.
Owen, the way you talk about sports is inspiring.
Yes!
I didn't know 8.5 could do that.
Wow.
Shout out Owen.
That time.
Go, Owen.
Hey, Owen. New generation in Connecticut, I guess.
He was making me feel good, too, by the way. He's making me feel good, making the show feel good. He was talking us up. He was hyping us up, and then boom, a little.
Was this Aristotle's brother?
A little misdirection from Aristotle's brother, Owen, at 8.5 there. That was awesome.
I'd say he put his balls on your forehead, but I don't think they dropped yet. So.
What an honor. What a dream. Being a part of game day was a joke. Being on the field for this is a joke. We continue to live the dumbest life of all time. What a time to be alive. Let's enjoy the hell out of this weekend in 2023 and we are live from an empty Mercedes-Benz Stadium. All the off-season workouts, all the sickness, all the puking, all the commitment, all the dedication. We got 4 teams left, Coach. What's the vibe of that locker room getting ready for this game?
We're going to swing as hard as we can in this game, and CJ's our leader, and he's going to lead the way.
Hell yeah. Yeah, we're going to try to make the most dumb television on earth this evening live from this field right here in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Darius Butler, 9-year NFL vet, played at UConn. That team stinks, but they're coming back. Okay. Stanford Steve here, and this man right here wearing a Wolf t-shirt underneath a sport coat. He works for me full-time. But what are you excited about this evening, Connor?
I mean, Pat, like you said, I have the IQ of a goldfish, so I'm not really taking all this in strictly because there's so much. The moment is huge.
You know where you make your money, and this college level is the red area. Georgia #1, 120 is where Ohio State is ranked, which is nuts.
Max Duggan is a dog.
Let Duggan cook.
Connor, good job, guys.
How are you boys?
Kirk, we say dumb stuff on the internet every day.
You guys be out there, Coach.
See if they can cover him.
In the boots.
Clear on your guys.
Connor, you're on ESPN.
How about it?
How about it?
Didn't say fuck, didn't say shit. I was close, but I didn't do it.
That's a win. That's a win.
That's electric.
Look at this, man. Look at this.
Hey, Coach, I don't know if you headbutted one of your guys or not, but
Cut yourself shit.
you are awesome.
I got a 6-year-old son, man. I mean, it's
They're going to have to rely upon those dogs. Cade Stover, the tight end for Ohio State.
Yeah, number 8.
He's like 4th-generation farmer. Sponsored by John Deere.
Yeah.
Okay, and they don't just put that deer on anybody.
Hey.
Yes. There's going to be billionaires barking. Okay, there's going to be billionaires barking. Grown folks in khakis barking in unison. Wow. So much fun.
That's got to become a thing next year. No, I'm serious. This close to go. Can't do that.
Yeah, that was great.
You all right? You all right? You all right? Help him up. Help him up.
Spill anything?
Nope. You spilled your phone.
Could have been worse. Could have been much worse.
The college football playoffs are about to kick off in Phoenix, Arizona.
My name is Peyton Manning. That's an Ohio fucking wet dream, not just a dream, dude.
Did you see A.Q. Shipley stacked on top of Cube, on top of Cole?
I feel a shot coming. Sound like Taylor. Oh, I told you. I gotta go.
Hey,
Why?
let's go. This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful.
McAfee on the line with a gorgeous assist.
The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers, you pig! Damn it! Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to our humble abode, the Thunderdome. On this NFL Cut Day, New Livery Day, Tuesday, August 27, 2024, Hour 3 of the program starts now. Football is happening all around us, but right now we're getting a chance to experience something incredibly special in the racing world. The Talks at Table is here at Boston Connor and at Ty Schmidt. 9-year NFL vet Darius J. Butler is here. Live from Manatee, Ohio, AJ Hawk is here. And joining us live in the Thunderdome, ladies and gentlemen, racing icon, Indiana legend, and a man who's racing this weekend in a top fuel car at the NHRA U.S. Nationals happening right here on the west side of Indianapolis. Tony Smokester.
Hey guys.
Smoke, great to chat with you again. Obviously, you're an Indiana legend, and every time U.S. Nationals comes to town, we get a chance to catch up with you. How has the season been? This weekend's the biggest race of the year. How are the cars? We just saw the new livery, new paint scheme on the outside of his race. Look at these bad boys. Look at these bad boys. We just got a chance to debut this. Let's fast forward if we could. If we could. Boom! Look at these beautiful things.
Damn.
Woo! Hey, they look beautiful. Okay, so brand new paint job for the U.S. Nationals this weekend at NHRA. That was a debut right there to you, to me, to the entire crew. What is the symbolism behind this? And are we just American muscle about to go 330 miles an hour down the track?
Yeah, this is to celebrate Direct Connections' 50th anniversary. So to do a throwback paint scheme, and the U.S. Nationals this weekend. This is the Super Bowl for drag racing for NHRA. So the biggest event of the year. It's in our backyard. Obviously, this is a home race for us, and obviously Dodge is a great partner of ours. So having them here and being able to debut the paint schemes, and we even got a chance to drop you down in an 11,000 horsepower funny car for a minute.
Yeah, I got the smell of the Hemi.
Oh, yeah.
I got to feel that Hemi right in front of me. And you just mentioned how many horsepower?
Over 11,000.
Okay, 11,000 horsepower in the engine. Very nice sports car that you're driving around. Let's say you see a Mustang, so it's 600. That's like 600, 700 horsepower is absurd for a car. 700 horsepower is insane for a 11,000 horsepower in these cars. And they're going how fast in a quarter mile?
Over 330 miles an hour and 1,000 feet.
Jeez. If we could bring a still shot up from that drone shot, so we can talk about each car individually, because they are two different cars, but they both have same engine. If we could go a little bit more so we can get the full aspect of that one. The one on the boom. The one on the left there is the funny car, right?
That's the funny car, and then the long, skinny one is the Top Fuel dragster.
Okay, so the funny car is kind of shaped after a car. I saw there was some like details, like fake lights on the front and everything like that. I sat down in that thing. 11,000 horsepower right in front of your lap. That's what separates that, plus the design for the Top Fuel? Or how do we get two different 11,000 horsepower engines in two different cars? That just feels like we're doing a lot.
I think the biggest thing and the biggest variable is the car I drive with the Top Fuel dragster, the motor is behind me. So if something happens, it blows up, it catches on fire, the fire is behind me and I'm going away from it. Matt Hagan that drives that funny car that you sat in and warmed up, if that blows up, you are going into the fire. I mean, and not a little fire. This isn't like a matchbook that catches on fire. This is nitromethane burning and you're driving into it. So I think the funny car guys,
Seems safe.
I think they're crazy. I think they're nuts.
Yeah.
So I didn't have any of those thoughts whenever I sat down in the car.
Yeah, well, we didn't tell you that part because we thought you might not want to get in it.
We do have footage of that, and I believe we're trying to transfer it right now to the computer because it literally just happened. But I'll tell you, when you started that thing up,
oh my God, you can feel it.
I could feel it.
Yeah.
You could smell it. You could sense it. You could feel
buds.
it. I had a gas mask on like it was back in college. You know what I mean? And we were trying to find some Jesus Christ in there. And whenever that thing started up, I could feel it. And it was 1,000 degrees. I mean, today's a very hot day in Indianapolis, Indiana. I had earplugs in. I had a gas mask on. Obviously, you're standing right next to me with neither of those things, so I appreciate you doing that. But then once those wheels started rolling, it was incredibly How long does it take to build one of these engines, and how many people are doing that? Because obviously the engineering of this entire thing is the show, I assume.
Yeah, these guys can service this car, so that car can come back from a run. They take the body off like we did to put you in the car. That's how they service the car. They can literally turn that around in 40 minutes and be ready to run again.
How long does this take to build this particular engine here?
Total time from start to finish, I don't know the man hours it takes to do that, but literally just to service the car. So once that car makes a run, the pistons, the rods come out of it, the blower comes off of it. They service everything. New pistons, new rods, new spark plugs, new heads, new headers. All of that gets changed down in 40 minutes and is ready to go back on the racetrack.
I felt alive, Tony.
Ready to go.
Tony, I felt alive in there.
I didn't get a chance to physically look at the bottom of the seat because I think there's a chance he might have wet himself.
No,
Just saying.
I've been out to the track over there where the U.S. Nationals are. I used to live in that area. All week ahead of the race, you hear them practicing at night. You hear the sound because of how loud these engines are, and I assume there'll be some neighbor that will complain. We've seen you race NASCAR, IndyCar, dirt car. Now you're racing top fuel car. Have you ever done? You just like racing things? Is that kind of how we got to this point? And how much fun is this particular style of racing versus maybe the long-term track racing and everything like that?
Yeah, this is polar opposite of what I did in NASCAR. NASCAR, I was in the car for 3.5 hours. Now the run lasts 3.5 seconds. So, and we're talking everything is to the thousandth of a second, not tenth of a second, hundredth of a second. To the thousandth of a second is what makes a difference in these cars.
And the get off is the big deal, right? The tree happened. That's so. Let's say we're watching this weekend because I assume there's a lot of people that just saw how sweet those cars looked and just heard what you said and say, I'll check that out. I will see what these cars are able to do. The reaction time is the most important part of this entire thing.
For the driver, it is. As soon as those lights change, once both drivers pre-stage and stage, then the next thing you see is the 3 amber lights on both sides at the same time. And as soon as the driver sees those lights, they hit the gas and off you go.
Shit's on.
Yeah.
How much driving are you doing during that?
Yeah. Hopefully not a lot. but they don't, as much as the track is straight, I mean, it is dead straight every time. The car never goes dead straight every time.
Connor has a question for you.
So how do you get your reflexes ready? Like you're not just obviously walking out of your bus and getting into the car and lights come on and you're going. Like, do you have any routines, things you do before a race to kind of get your brain ready, to get your feet pedal to the metal ready, because it doesn't really sound like your hands on the wheel too much?
Yeah, honestly, and it's something that I've struggled with even this year. Last year I was running a top alcohol dragster that ran in the 270, 280 mile an hour range and still had to go through the same thing on reaction times. But now I came from cars where I was going to be in there for 3.5 hours, so I got in there and tried to get calm because I was going to be in there a while.
Yeah.
Now I'm doing the opposite. Now I'm having to try to get my heart rate up. I'm trying to get my energy up. I'm trying to get like I'm getting ready to go into a fight. That's what you have to have, that energy when you get in there, because everything is on that reaction time on the light for the drivers. So.
And it's 130 degrees in there.
Oh, over that.
So hot. I mean, I was just cooking in there I didn't have the suit on. I didn't have the helmet on. Didn't have the whole thing firing. It was so hot. So having to deal and navigate with all those things, I guess, and you're saying it's milliseconds of reaction time for U.S. Nationals, win or loss. That's insane to think the amount of pressure on every single second. Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, when you take all that into consideration, obviously it's only, 3.5 seconds or whatever, but how physically demanding is the whole process? Like, do you have to... be in good physical condition going up. And I assume you're sweating like crazy in there. And also we're talking 11,000 ponies under the hood. Like, how physically demanding is it trying to actually control that thing?
Something I didn't think about and never factored into it when I started driving these cars. I didn't think it was that physical. And I've always watched as a fan and watched it on TV. And I'm like, why are these guys out of breath? I mean, we can hold our breath in a swimming pool for almost a minute. And these guys make a sub 4 second run and they get out and they're breathing heavy and this and that. And it's because your heart rate and everything's so high. But When you hit the gas, you get up to 6.5 Gs. And then when you throw the chutes at the end to slow down and stop, it's another 6 Gs the opposite direction. So you have a 12 G swing with your body weight, your helmet, everything. Everything in that car is going back when you hit the gas, and as soon as the chutes come out, it tries to throw you through the windshield.
AJ has a question for you from Ohio.
I know in NASCAR, a lot of the cars are very similar, and they try to like have parity. And I guess like a lot of cars are very similar to each other, and it's kind of hard to separate from the pack. Is it the same in these like the funny car and when you're drag racing, or is this more like it's on the driver and your reaction time, and whoever jumps it usually wins?
There's a lot less rules as far as compared to NASCAR. NASCAR is so micro. I mean, they measure everything to the thousandth of an inch, and there's still rules in NHRA that is the same way, but you're sitting there taking an 11,000 plus horsepower car and trying to make it go 1,000 feet as fast as you can. The body being off a thousandth of an inch here or there, that's not going to make the difference to those guys, to the sanctioning body. So the rules are way more relaxed, but everybody really is just trying to manage an 11,000 plus horsepower car and trying to get it to get the maximum grip on the racetrack for what the track conditions are.
How do we feel about our car going into the week? Our cars going into the weekend. We feel good?
I think so. I know Matt and Dickie on the funny car side, they're excited about it. They've really started hitting their stride right before the playoffs. This is our last race before the playoffs start for us. So this is a big weekend. It's 1.5 points. The Top Fuel side, we've struggled all year until the last two events, and luckily we're getting hot at the right time. We set records multiple times at the last event. I finally went 334.7 mile an hour in the Top Fuel car. So it was a...
Hey, that's smoke, baby.
Yeah.
That's why that's smoke driving right there.
There could have been bombs going off beside the racetrack, and I wouldn't have known it was going on.
What's it look like? 334 miles an hour?
It's tunnel vision. It
really?
is very much
They
tunnel
say,
vision.
what do some people say, like slows down almost? Is that...
It does when you get more comfortable, but that's the first time I'd been that fast. The previous event, the fastest we had ran, which was the quickest run we'd made all year, was 331 miles an hour. So granted, 3 mile an hour doesn't sound like much, but you're talking 3 mile an hour and it's accelerating at 1,000 feet. So when it made that pass and it ran 3.68 seconds, that was the quickest elapsed time that I had in the run, and I knew it was fast. I didn't know how fast the numbers were, didn't know how fast the mile an hour was, but I knew at half track how hard it was accelerating, that this was on a run.
And what, you're
fast.
just eyeballing the finish line, or what do you... Yeah, that's the whole time.
Yep.
And do you... Everything is just
It comes by
334
very
miles an
fast.
hour?
Yeah.
In a quarter mile.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So that is... But this weekend, weather should be perfect, right? Conditions look like it's going to be great for all cars?
Yeah, we would not like to race in the conditions we have today. It is hot out there. And
How
then the
come? How
asphalt,
come?
Well, the asphalt gets hot, the rubber gets hot, and when it does, it gets greasy and it gets slippery. So instead of running 335, for example, you might be running in the 332, 331 range on a track like this.
334 feels like winning. That feels like a winning mile per hour.
Yeah, if you can run in the mid 330s like that, you're normally laying down a good run.
Hell yeah, Tony. You feel like you're figuring it out? Feel like you're
starting to. I mean, it's only taken 40 plus years in my racing career, and now I'm driving a car that I have really struggled to get used to this, because like we said, everything was always in motion and it was a long race, where now it's short races. You have a couple hours in between runs, and then you got to get yourself up. You got to be ready, amped up. And then the car is going to go from 0 to 330 miles an hour in less than 1,000.
The Force family was the big family of drag racing, right?
Still are.
Still in the daughters, I believe. And I don't want to say grandkids, but that family was the big drag racing family, right? Is there any other notable names that we should look out for either this weekend or in the sport as the history?
Well, you got Cruz Petragon that drives the Dodge. You've got you got drivers
Cruz,
like
a good
Ron
name for the drag racer.
Brown. You got some really cool racers. Steve Torrance. Austin Prox here from the west side of Indianapolis. There are some great drivers in the competition this year. Of the 4 years that I've really been involved with NHRA, hanging around my wife Leah and everything, in both the Top Fuel and funny car classes, it's the most competitive I've ever seen it.
Your wife's a racer, right?
Yeah.
I believe that is, because last time you were on the show, I don't know if you guys were married yet.
Yeah, we were.
You just but it was like you were with it was like racers, right? Is that was the accurate story of the romance?
The reason that I'm driving the car is because she's 7 months pregnant.
Congratulations!
Oh yeah, thank you. So
that is awesome.
Probably not a good idea for her to be driving a 330 mile an hour race car and sitting in 100.
But she did, right? That was like her gig.
Yeah.
And she will get back to that whenever she's.
Yeah, that's the plan, is for her to get back in Top Fuel cars. She has this really bad idea that she wants us to build a second Top Fuel team, so when she comes back, I have another car to drive and we get to race with each other, which I think is insane. It's a terrible idea. On paper, it does not make sense, Because if you beat your wife, you get stuck to the couch for eternity.
Yep.
You never get to sleep in the bed again. And if you lose, you have to look at yourself in the mirror twice a day and go, I got my ass kicked by my wife. And all your buddies are going to say you got your ass kicked by your wife. So that's just the reality of it.
Has a husband and wife ever raced against each other?
I think they have. I don't know if it was at the top fuel or funny car level, but I do know there's been multiple husband and wife combinations.
Hey, she's like a driver too, right?
Yeah, and she's every bit as competitive, if not more competitive than I am. So we both hate to lose. I think she might hate to lose maybe a little worse than me, but she would get excessive celebration penalties for every time that she beat me because she would rub it in my face.
Yeah,
sure.
well, that is something.
But I would expect that from her.
As you should.
I would want her to be that way.
That's a good relationship, sounds like. It would be hard to celebrate that because you can't get out of the car. I mean, it took me like 30 seconds to get out of the car because how fat my ass is.
It's
so
hot.
You guys, and it's hot as shit. And you don't really know if you won yet, right? Whenever the race ends, you don't know if you won.
You actually do. There's two little lights on the wall, and when you get to the end of the run, if your light's on, you know you won. If that light's not on, you know your competitor won.
Okay, so you start on Friday, right? You start on Friday. We got trials.
We got one round of qualifying Friday night, which night qualifying is awesome to see the flames off of these
Thousands
cars.
of fans will be there. Thousands and thousands of fans. They fill this place up. It's like a smaller state fair almost with everything in the middle. Had a few beers at one of these events. Great corn. You got state fair food there. Good crowd.
The best crowds out here, I'm assuming?
Yeah, this is a big event. This is huge. So one round of qualifying Friday, 2 rounds of qualifying on Saturday and Sunday, and then the races and eliminations are on Sunday or on Monday.
On Monday against each other.
Yes.
Got it.
So it's just like a 16 field bracket. So just like a NCAA bracket, go from 16 to 8 to 4 to 2.
Is it time or speed? What is?
It is literally who gets to that finish line first. It doesn't matter if you left a second after I did, but your car was a second and a half faster, you'd beat me by a half second.
Got it. So you can run 3:34, but if it took you a little bit longer to get up there than somebody else that was able to get there quicker, they win the race.
Correct. Exactly.
Got it. Well, good luck out there.
Smoke,
thank you so much for letting us do
Appreciate
that.
it. Good to see you guys.
I mean, I can't believe I did think I've seen they wear fire suits for a reason as that thing was getting started up.
Sure.
And I think if you watch me back, I look around and I'm like, I think I trust these guys.
Yeah, they know.
These guys build a.
You were looking for the fire extinguisher, weren't you?
I was wondering. I was like, these guys build a good engine. Yeah, these guys build a good engine. But then when you stood right next to me, I was like, all right, well, at least if I go down,
and that's the thing about
this.
As well. It's not just what we do. I mean, we talked about that 40-minute turnaround time. Every one of those guys, we as drivers trust them with our lives because if they make a mistake, that thing could be on fire, the car could crash. I mean, we trust our guys, and we are a tight family unit, and everything they do is precise. I mean, these guys are great at what they do, and they all have their individual specialties of what they are responsible for on the car, but it is ultimately what keeps us safe in the car and what makes it go fast at the same time.
Real talent.
Yeah.
They're real talent. And if you have weapons in that department, you win more races. I think that's clear across all fronts. Even F1. Have you ever raced F1?
I've driven an F1 car. I drove Lewis Hamilton's car. We did a seat swap. So he drove the Cup car for 4 laps. I drove the Formula 1 car 4 laps.
Dope.
Do you think you'd be able to, if you went over there?
I weigh too much to race with those little skinny guys. So
America.
And I'm not going on a diet.
Yeah. Amen.
America.
America. The U.S. Nationals this weekend for NHRA all weekend long here in the west side of Indianapolis, Indiana. We got cars going 330 miles an hour in a quarter mile. 12G swing on bodies, incredible engineering, and an electric environment. People, how could you not when is right in front of you? They talk about the pink slips in the show, drag racing and everything like that. It has always been fun to see whose engine is better than the other. And whenever it's happening at this high of a level, it is always a spectacle. Can't wait to see the Tony Stewart racing team and that beautiful new paint scheme take the track this weekend. Congrats on everything, Smoke, and thank you for stopping by.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
That thing was loud.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Had earbuds in, could still felt like I did it.
It was so hot. It was also so bright outside.
It was very bright outside.
It was so hot and bright outside. I'm happy you guys kind of waited it out for us. We are so sorry. We did not know you were bringing your whole fucking team here. We would have been able to create more spots. Good. The boys watched, I think some of the boys watched the program. So we appreciate the hell out of you guys for letting us be a part of your day today. Good luck this weekend. Have fun. Be safe. Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Smoke Stewart.
Hey.
Thank you, Tony. Appreciate you. Good luck. Stay safe. Hell yeah.
Good luck.
Hey, thank you all.
335. Go get him.
Yeah, let's go.
Come on, Tony.
It's going to be perfect. Oh, man. I can still smell it. Can you smell it?
I can too, yeah.
I can still smell. I think we're going to smell that forever in here. You're the man, Smoke. Okay, all right, good, good. Happy to hear that. It's in my blood.
It's in our skin.
Yeah, horsepower in my blood. Horsepower in my blood. Congratulations. Thank you. No problem. Good luck. You guys are going to make incredible parents. All right, see you guys. Holy hell. Yeah, thank you. All right.
That was electric.
Dude, it was so powerful.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine sitting behind
So
it.
loud.
Dude, it was so loud. So loud, so powerful. And they're like, I didn't know I was sitting in that thing. Obviously, I had no idea. I knew we were debuting a new paint scheme.
Sure.
That was kind of the conversation. Us and Smoke have a relationship over the years, so it was like, hey, U.S. Nationals happening. Smoke wants to stop by, or Smoke would stop by. Would you want Smoke to stop by? It's like, absolutely. And then Tony offers up, like, we'll love to debut our new paint. We should do that with Pat or whatever. And it's like, thank you for the opportunity to do that. And then they're like, we're also going to put you in one of these things. And I'm like, well, I guess you have to do that.
As well,
if you get the opportunity to sit in one of these things. So much power, AJ. So much. As somebody who I like cars. I enjoy cars. It's something that I think, like, literally since I'm a kid, like, see a nice car, like, oh, I like that car. I like that car. I like that car. I'm into cars. Not as much as other people that are into cars. Like, there's people that are, like, really into cars.
Getting under the hood.
Yeah, and they'll alpha you in a conversation.
Turning wrench.
Turning wrench.
Bingo. All those types of things. And I can keep up a little bit, but nowhere near as much as, like, car people. I went to one of those races because I could literally hear the motherfuckers from my house where I was living at the time. I'm like, what is that sound? They're like, oh, that's the NHRA U.S. Nationals. And I'm like, is that like some Bush League? They're like, no, that is the fastest cars, most powerful cars are racing like quarter of a mile in your backyard. I'm like, I hear them all. They're like midnight, 1 a.m. leading up to this U.S. Nationals. They're going. I'm like, I got to go see this. I get there. Party. Just
hell yeah.
Thousands of people at this thing. Beers are served ice cold.
What?
I mean, it is. And then you see these things take off down the strip and it's like a blur. It's literally like a blur out of nowhere. And then you see it go wrong sometimes.
Yeah.
And it is not a blur.
There's no easy way. There's no easy way to go wrong when you're going that fast.
Not at all.
How close are the spectators, the crowd?
You're behind it's like a drag strip, which is about as wide as a runway. I'll say like an airport runway, and then there's a little bit of space. Then there's like bleachers, kind of down both sides of it. You can feel it. I mean, you can feel it, and you got little kids too being held up over the edge, like, "Come on, son,
feel it, take it in,
you gotta feel it, you gotta feel
boys.
this one." It was the people were all incredibly kind. The racing community is always like very jacked up about racing, so it's like a fun place to be. I think there's a lot of families there. People are having a blast, and then inevitably, one person's engine is going to be better than everybody else's, and it's like feels like Smoke's engine's heating up at the right time.
Yes,
That guy's right there.
You warmed it up.
He said he went doing that little soft F1 stuff.
Yeah.
Those little bitches.
He drove a car, though. Italian Grand Prix this weekend, by the way.
Oh, nice.
What is that, in one-lane road?
What B
Grand
League
Prix.
MLS game's on? I'd rather watch that.
Well, why? Speaking of B League MLS, Gumpsh, we got the guy. He's a 14-year-old. Why is he playing in front of no people?
Come on.
I feel like they're just trying to get him some minutes since they haven't been using him on the first squad. For whatever reason that is, I don't know why.
For those that don't know what we're referring to a 14-year-old who made his debut in the MLS for the Philadelphia Union. He is from Philadelphia. His older brother plays for the Philadelphia Union. He's 14 years old, debuting in the MLS, hanging, playing well, comfortable, confident. This comes after we see Yahim from Spain.
Lamal, yeah.
Yahim?
Oh, boy. I know it's Lamal.
Anyways, we saw a 16-year-old turn 17-year-old play for Spain who kept up, looked great.
Oh, yeah.
And then we see this American 14-year-old come on and play in the MLS. We're like, we got the guy. And then he doesn't play anymore. Now he's playing for the B team, and he's doing this in front of no people. We have that in our bag.
On, man.
Let's get him in front of people.
Left peg, too. He's right-footed. He's filthy.
What are we doing?
There's a left peg from a right peg guy.
I mean, let's put him on the field. He's 14 years old. The guy's getting paid from Man City for 5 years. We can't get him in a game in the MLS. What are we doing?
Let's let him play in his high school match.
Yeah.
High school would have more people.
That's what I'm sure. What the fuck are we doing?
That was a strike.
Get him on the big club.
Is he good enough to play on the big club?
Dude, he looked good when he was out there.
I saw him for
He
10
looked
minutes
really
play.
good.
What's
He
the
can play with both feet.
What's the Union's record?
The
Unless
Union,
they're
are not a good squad.
Exactly.
Build around a 14-year-old.
They're better as of late, but their record is not very good.
I just don't get it.
It's a problem.
I just don't get. We got the guy. Let's let him be the guy, AJ.
It doesn't make, like Ty said, if they're not undefeated, what are you doing? Give the kid a chance.
Soccer in the States.
Trying to push him out.
How about us? We talked, literally everybody talked about it. He was on the Today Show.
Yep.
He was like, hey, it looks pretty good. Took a shot. Was very comfortable. Couple give and goes with his brother. Worked a couple things. Looked very confident. Obviously, the place went crazy. He could be the next one, not only in America, but in the entire world. And the Philadelphia Union are like, that's right. And you'll see him in 3 years playing for a different team in another country.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Go back down to the B League, man.
What are we doing? Put the guy on the field.
If Pochettino gets wind of this,
That's not his name.
It should be if it's
Thought
not.
it is.
Poch.
Pochettino needs to
Poch is
poach
the
him back
gaffer.
up
He's a
to
good
the
gaffer.
main squad.
He is a good gaffer.
What is his name?
It is interesting that
Pochettino.
still hasn't been.
Okay.
That deal is not sealed just yet.
What? You're saying Ponch isn't the head coach of the
Well, they
Union?
haven't introduced him yet. Like I don't know what the holdup is. It's
Chelsea.
just Chelsea being assholes again.
Yeah.
Well, we don't like that at all.
I thought he looked at the Union and said, "Oh, you're not going to play a 14-year-old on the main team. I'm not fucking coaching for a country that does that."
So let me get this straight. You guys have a guy that everybody wants to watch. Could be the next one. We're not playing him. Okay. And then Methie got here. He won a bunch of games. Those games don't count. Okay. So he doesn't get. Maybe he's trying to sort some things out too to see if he really wants to do it. Hopefully he does. Speaking of things getting sorted out, shout out to DirecTV.
Shout out.
DirecTV figured it out.
They did.
Always do.
Don't need a damn satellite anymore. To tell us more about that is All-Pro, legend, icon, one of the stars of Receiver for Netflix, friend of the program, Iowa Hawkeye legend, ladies and gentlemen, George Kittle. All right, George. So tell me,
What's up?
tell me about what's going on here. You know what I mean? Tell me what's going on.
Wow.
With this helmet that it was not to be worn in a conversation with you, talking about taking the top off a little bit. If you're DirecTV, George, tell me about it.
Man, what a softball layup pitch. You guys are just so talented. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, bro.
No, I think the DirecTV they just wanted to show everybody, man, you don't need a satellite on your roof anymore, man. They're streaming now on the go, at home, whatever you need to do. And so we thought nothing on your roof, you're like, my hair's long on the top, short on the side. We just reversed that. And it turns out I look completely different, but at the same time still handsome.
Yeah, incredibly handsome. You're George Kittle. I mean, that's why you do those nude ads with those other companies. But let's stay with the DirecTV. Feels like this is a move that was made a while back for college students. DirecTV did this, I think. Now they're doing it for everybody, it feels like, George.
Yeah, it's for everybody. And the nice thing is it's for all pro football games and all college football games. So whatever you want to watch Ohio State and Green Bay, you can do that, AJ. It's all whatever you want to watch, man. Anybody can do whatever they want to do. If you want to watch Iowa and Green Bay, Iowa and the Bears, whatever you guys want to do, guys. It's you have access to it and just stream.
For more information on DirecTV, how to enter for your chance to win the helmet, and check yourself out with a nothing on your roof hairstyle, go directly to directv.com/nothing on your roof. That is DIRECTV.com/nothing on your roof. And you can maybe win one of these helmets.
Damn.
And maybe you can see how you would look if you got the nothing on your roof cut that George Kittle had for this commercial. Now, I will read the bottom anecdotes that we got sent here.
Please.
George Kittle footballed helmets, do's and don'ts, right here at the bottom.
Boom.
Do's and don'ts.
Good to know.
Do describe the helmet as a fun novelty keepsake item. I think that's easy to do.
Yeah, that's easy.
I think we said, don't wear the helmet on air, it says. And also,
Don't do it.
don't suggest the helmet could be used on the field during a real game.
looks like it could.
Sorry about it. I'm sending this to every youth league in the fucking country.
Naturally.
Just in case anybody was confused that this is not a game regulation helmet. Thank you for the do's and don'ts. That was It's not.
Are you sure? No, JT's trying to guardian.
Put a helmet on. Put one on.
I mean,
Why? You want to find out? You want to find out?
Put this on, Debo?
You want to find out, dude? Don't put the helmet on. It's like, what the fuck? Why'd you send me one?
I'm going to put the helmet on.
Sorry. Yeah. It's cool.
This is great for DirecTV, though. We are incredibly pumped about it, and I would like to see who ends up winning one of these helmets because you see it. It's hard not to just be like, what? That is awesome.
So sweet.
This is a good idea, George.
Yeah.
Speaking of good ideas,
Thank you.
No problem. How are you doing, brother? The ideas flowing? How's the team feel? Because, we've a lot of drama being chatted about your team outside. Do you guys hear it inside or no? How's that all go?
You know what? It's hard to hear a lot of drama when you're in the middle of training camp. You're just waking up and you're practicing and you're in meetings all day. Then you go home and you just go to sleep. So there's not really a lot of time to hear the drama and the outside noise. But like for us as the 49ers, like I know that the guys who are going through contract negotiations, they're doing what they think is best for them. and we all support them in that. And as players, we're just going to show up there. We're going to practice every single day and just see what we can get out of the guys that are practicing. And so, I got asked, like, how tough is it that Trent Williams isn't there? And, well, yeah, he's a Hall of Fame first ballot guy, and he's going to play really good football for a long time. But I'm getting incredible reps with our backup left tackle, Jalen Moore, that I wouldn't get otherwise. And, if Trent's not playing, I have no idea what's going to happen. But I'm getting these valuable reps with Jalen. And when Trent Williams shows up, he's inevitably just going to be amazing again. And I'm not going to really need that much practice with him because he's just better than everybody else.
Okay, so let's talk about when he shows back up, because it feels like the Niners have had a little bit of this over the last couple of years with contracts and obviously superstars, and they've always been able to work it. I don't think people fully understand that when Trent Williams comes back into that locker room, when it gets figured out, hey, let's go. Now we move forward, right? Isn't that kind of how the entire locker room feels about it, everybody, especially Ayuk or Trent or anybody else?
Oh, yeah. No, as an NFL football player, not everything's guaranteed. It's the NFL. It's not for long. So, you want everyone to take advantage of the situation that they're in and make as much money as they possibly can and, do what they've dreamt about since they were kids and make money for their families. And so, we all have their backs and we understand the position that they're in. So, there's no bad blood or anything like that. So, whenever they show up, whenever whatever happens, it's pretty seamless. You're just right back into the flow of things.
Go ahead, AJ.
George, how's this training camp been compared to others in the past? We've heard multiple players throughout the league kind of say that this was kind of a tougher training camp than they may have had. There might be more like a sense of urgency for some teams. Has that been the case for you guys?
I think Coach Shanahan does a really good job about the way we've scheduled our practices. And, the way that, we get guys ramped up to go out there and play football, how we do reps and stuff like that. Coach Shanahan does a great job of putting us in really, do or die moments, situational football. And just having those learning experiences is really good. I do feel like our team has a great sense of urgency. It's a little bit different when you're missing, a couple pieces out there. You've kind of noticed that. But what's nice is you get to see other guys take advantage of those opportunities. And, a guy like Chris Conley's played really well for us at X this year without Ayuk being there. Our offensive line, there's a lot of moving pieces for it, but it's just kind of fun to see guys out there. And at the end of the day, you have Brock Purdy throwing to, me, Debo. On the defense, you still got Fred, and Nick Bosa is still pretty decent at football, I'm pretty sure. I think he has 100 sacks, and that's nothing against our offensive line. That's just how good he is. And so we have a sense of urgency, and we're practicing hard. And it was a tough training camp, but yesterday was a super high day for us, and I think our offense came out on top, which was kind of fun to see.
Yeah, I'd love to have a dub over the other side of the roster in training camp, because if one side's dominating a bit, boy, it does get loud in meetings and cafeteria and everything like that. Shout out to the offense. Shout out to the offense.
Thank you.
Hey, congratulations to you guys. Without Trent and Ayuk, that is, you guys should be rubbing that in their face as well, potentially. You guys see what the fuck's going on. You talked about Bosa still being great at football and being incredibly jacked, which he is. There's another guy, too, that allegedly. Go ahead, Con, man.
Yeah, George, has Brock Purdy been getting drug tested? Because it seems like he's on PEDs. There's some before and after photos in this offseason. He looks incredibly jacked now. What did he do? And did you just kind of give him your playbook? Like, hey, you got to do arms for 30 reps every single day?
Actually, I think the most impressive thing with Brock right now is he's turning into a mini McAfee / Bosa and just has huge quads. And it's just I'm a tall and I'm skinny guy. So I just don't get that. I have nice quads, but they're not like Bosa, which is it. I'm a little jealous, but it is what it is. But Purdy he fits in that category really well. And he looks a lot better, just bigger, faster, stronger, which is nice to see. And it just looks more mature. And Pat, it's hard to give a thoughtful answer every time I look at the screen and I just see your face.
I agree. Yeah,
it's really tough right now.
Come on,
but you look incredible. You're distracted.
Don't
support the business, brother.
Right here, bub.
Maybe that's why you weren't supposed to wear it, because I would get distracted.
Okay, they said we know George better than you do. Mm-hmm. Okay, you put that helmet on, you're not going to get shit out of him. But you just gave a great answer about Brock Purdy there. How about mentally? How about around the building? And I know, being a young quarterback's tough because you're being asked to basically be the CEO of a professional operation. Now, I know Shanahan is obviously the offensive leader and you got stars everywhere, but as a quarterback, there's going to be expectations of you chirping and talking and motivating and everything like that. How has he done with that? Have you seen any growth other than just his biceps and his quads? Have you seen any growth behind the scenes that maybe we don't get to see?
I think one of the biggest things I've noticed, you can give the professional answer and say, he comes into work every single day. He's the same guy. He's consistent. But what I've really liked about Brock, ever since he got into the huddle, his rookie season, he's a guy that he speaks with confidence. And when you're a quarterback with confidence, the players, like everyone looks at you. You have everyone's attention 24/7, and there's no BS behind it. Like it's just who he truly is. And one thing I think noticed just this offseason, because it was his first healthy offseason. He got to do all of OTAs. He had to go away, take some time off, then come back for training camp. Is I think he just has a new confidence in the offense, and like he's kind of taking the reins on it. I think him and Kyle have like discussion about what his favorite things are, and those are the things we try to get better at. So then when he's at his most confident, he's getting guys like me, Debo, McCaffrey, Juice, Juwan Jennings of football, in third downs and third and long. So I think he's just taking control of the offense. It's fun to see that.
Yeah. We're big Brock Purdy supporters over here.
Love him.
We have Brock parties all the time. He's so good at the football. He's so good at the football.
He is good at the football. Hey, I have a question for you, Pat. How was Ireland?
Buddy, it was awesome.
It looked like a riot.
It was quite a runaway, a little bit of a gong show.
Yeah.
Hey, I would recommend it 10 out of 10. I don't know if I can survive another trip and to Dublin, but we got about a year to prepare. I don't think I'm going to drink until then, but buddy, it was awesome. I mean, just like,
wow.
I don't know what everybody's thoughts are on like, should Dublin be a place that I travel to throughout my life? You should. You absolutely
Yes.
should. It is a blast. It's like a, hard-working town. They are made... They will love American football. That town and that place will continue to grow their love for American football, so I think there's going to be more opportunities for it. But yeah, a little bit of a gong show there, George, because the people in the pub couldn't hear us. The PA wasn't working. So all those people could not hear us. They were there, and we were sitting, 10 feet away from them pretty much. So I decided early that I'm just, you know what? I'm going to chug 10 of these things for the show for the boys here. The Irish lads that are in the bar. That's not the great decision, because that led to about 15 more, and then there was shots of whiskey. And then, it was a long night, but they took care of me, which I'm very grateful for. And we got to experience Dublin in a way with Seamus that I don't think anybody ever. It was a dream, George.
Wow.
It was a fucking dream, legit.
Dude, Seamus there too is just so sick. That is so fun for you guys. I went to Dublin, I think like 2 years ago for a wedding. Alex Mack, the former center for the Falcons, and then he was with us for a year. And we got in, and like at 10 a.m., me and Claire went to get breakfast, and two guys next to me were just drinking Guinness. I was like, well, I guess I'll have a beer. Sounds like a good idea.
That's why there were some people that didn't love the show. I'm like, what the fuck do you want me to do?
Come on.
I literally, these people can't hear us either.
5 o'clock.
Imagine what that's going to become if we're not engaging with them at all. It's like, when in Rome is a statement for a long time. We were literally in the place. We were in a pub in Dublin with so many good lads.
So many lads.
So many good lads. Speaking of lads, younger lads, D-But's got a question for you, George.
Yeah, George, you've been around for a while. I think going into year 8, and obviously one of the best tight ends in the game. A lot of great tight ends coming out of Hawkeyes as well. And then starting tight end you. Do you find that a lot of young guys reach out to you now?
I would say yes and no. I've had a lot of college guys hit me up, and like high school guys too, just like asking for drills and stuff that I think would help them out. And I try to respond to as many as I possibly can. But, I've worked with a couple college guys in the off season, and then definitely with the the younger NFL guys, we had a bunch of first and second year guys there this year. And whether they were like on active last year or even practice squad trying to earn their spot onto an active roster, they ask a lot of questions. I mean, like, how often do you get like Greg Olsen and Travis Kelce, Evan Ingram in a room and be able to ask them questions about what they did when they were a rookie and like what they could learn from them and how could they get a little bit better as a rookie or a second year guy. So I think it's just like it's invaluable information. And at the same time too, like after every preseason game, I get to go up and I get to see all the tight ends that were at tight end U. So that was pretty fun for me as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Holy cow.
What was that?
Everything all right?
Dude, you look fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, okay, racist fucking
Appreciate
asshole.
that. Appreciate that.
Wow. Is your dome's a little different color though?
Yeah, maybe.
Well, we don't know. Hey,
we don't know. Maybe they should.
Hey, George, take it easy, bud.
We don't see that stuff.
It's blurry. I can't see. It's the connection.
Oh, you're in Ireland too. Yeah.
I should be streaming on DirecTV is what I should be doing.
Yeah, way to bring it back.
Nothing on the roof.
Way to bring it back. Okay, so what's your guys' schedule right now? You got 4 days off, I guess, this weekend. I guess that's NFL mandated. What is your schedule going into next week?
Let's see. Friday night, I'm going to hang out probably with my wife, maybe play a couple of video games.
Shout out Claire.
Shout out Claire. And then Saturday night, we have a players party at Coach Shanahan's house, which he throws every single year, which is a good time.
Is that the one where he threw the football across the thing?
I think that was a different one. No, that was just him hanging out in San Diego one off season with John Lynch when he like threw a football into like a pizza oven or something like that.
Yeah, on the other side of the street or whatever.
Sick. Joe Staley.
He just yeah.
Yeah, that was with Joe Staley, legend.
What games you playing?
I like that. Good question.
You know what's crazy? I just got into Elden Ring.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get into that. Yeah, it's gonna. Claire's not gonna be happy about the time I spend on that one.
What is this? Is this like what is Elden Ring? It's like what's it like?
Randy Orton just said he's.
Yeah, he said he's playing hours.
600 hours.
600 hours.
This is how long he's played that.
Yeah,
game.
he was talking to Cody Rhodes with the Wheatley vodka.
Yeah.
That's a great conversation.
Awesome.
And
It
Randy
is.
Orton, obviously, living legend. So is Cody. But what is it? Is it like a Dungeons and Dragons type game? What type of game is it?
Sure, kind of like that. Yeah, kind of a mythic thing. You beat a bunch of bosses. You get to customize your person. Yeah, here you go. Spells, fighting.
It's an MMORPG.
I'm 30 minutes into it, so I can't give you a great description of it.
Do you stink at
But I know
these
a lot
types
of
of
guys that
games, or
play.
you're very good at these types of games?
I'm pretty good at these games. I haven't played an RPG in a while, but I'll get back into it. I was a big Mass Effect guy, which is pretty similar to it. But that, and I play a lot of Rocket League.
Oh, that's
I
the
love
soccer
Rocket
with the
League.
cars.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Always
So much fun.
Always been a gamer?
Yeah, no, Halo 3 is my entire
man.
identity in middle school and high school.
Well, let's talk about college a little bit. Ty has a question for you.
Yeah, George, I'm sure you've seen the NCAA is completely fucking blackballing Coach Ferentz, suspending him for the first game. We all know he didn't do anything wrong, okay? But they'll slap him on the wrist, give him this recruiting violation. It's bullshit. You don't need to comment on it. I know you agree with me. Most Iowa fans do, but I don't know if you've looked at our schedule this year. I'm kind of feeling a home playoff game, in the first inaugural 12-team playoff. What are your expectations for Iowa this year? You got to get the quarterback figured out, obviously. But beyond that, what do you think?
You guys do. You got the transfer from Michigan a couple years ago that Kirk cheated to get.
Yeah, exactly. And we probably won't be going back to the portal anytime soon.
Tim Lester.
First I'll say free Kirk.
Free
that
Kirk.
man.
Free Kirk. Free
Thank you.
Kirk.
Yep, Kirk's dogs, free Kirk. Besides that, I would say, you know what? The defense is going to play at an incredibly high level. You have the top 2 special teams in the country, not number 2, with LeVar Woods as the special teams coordinator. And I just think if the offense can just score 10 to 14 points a game, the defense is going to score 7, or the special teams is. And so, that's an average of 21 points per game, and you're going to win a lot of football games doing that. So let's just win the games that we're supposed to, upset 1 or 2 guys, and then let Kinnick get really loud. Yep, I like all those. Are we at Ohio State?
At Ohio State, yeah.
That'll be fun.
Home against Washington.
What's the date on that?
October 12th, which is a stacked college football card.
That is so sick.
No, it's at home. It's at home.
Okay,
It's
gotcha.
at home. They're
Oh,
home.
yeah.
You got home Northwestern, home Wisconsin. You're at UCLA.
Need it.
You're at Maryland. You're home against Nebraska on Senior Day.
Big.
Which, who knows what Rules team's going to look like then, legitimately.
We have no idea. All I know is that Iowa versus Nebraska, it's George Kittle versus Will Compton, and my record's pretty good.
Tell him, George.
Will Compton just interviewed Peyton. I believe they interviewed. And
Cool.
He got Peyton to do the.
I love Will.
I open my phone and I see Will Compton's face. I'm like, it's going to be a good day.
It's going to be a great day for the boys.
Hey, same with you, man. You bring great vibes all the time. That's a massive piece, I think, of your success. Did you enjoy the Receiver documentary thing? Did you enjoy that last year?
I really did. It was actually funny. I was a really hard no when they first asked me. And then it was actually Claire convinced me. She was like, first, we watched a couple episodes of the quarterbacks, and they did a great job of just showing behind the scenes of those guys. And then she was like, hey, this is something that you're going to be able to show your kids in 10 years. And it's a very unique experience. So thinking like that, I was like, yeah, this will be really fun. And the whole process was awesome. NFL Films did the whole thing. We got a girl with the same video crew every single time. So you get to build a relationship with the film crew, and it really wasn't that invasive. They only came to your house if you asked them. Hey, can we shoot something this week? You'd be like, no. They'd be like, okay, sounds good. We'll ask you again next week. They worked with us in every way possible.
It was fun to watch you and Claire and your family and everything learn about you. And I think that was Peyton's big pitch whenever he did quarterback the first time, obviously with Omaha. And he asked Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid both said, Peyton, you would never do this ever. Why are you asking? And then Peyton gave a story about how, his kids, Mosley and Mark, they don't They don't get to see what it looked like, what one day of my life, what work looked like, how people talk, how I talked, how we went about our business. He was like, so I do wish, actually, I would have been able to do something like this. You have it forever, and I think you looked incredibly cool and good. And it seemed like your teammates love you, and that continues every single offseason. This past offseason, you did something special down there in Nashville. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, George, before the Titans preseason game, I saw that you had all the boys over the house to work out. First off, good for you. You've done very well. But was this mandatory? Did everyone have to come to the barn and work out in the field, or how cool was this? How'd this work out?
Oh man, another thing that was my wife's idea. She goes, "Hey, you guys are coming to Nashville because they tell you if you're not going to play in the preseason game, and if you're not playing in a preseason game, they always require a workout. And we either go to a local college or a local high school, and we're just like, well, let's just go out to our place." So my dad, being the lawyer he is, he worked up a little deal, a little thing with the Niners, signed a waiver. He's good at waivers, and had all the boys out for like a 2-hour workout, and it was all the guys who didn't play. So it was a really fun experience. You know, it's a place I take a lot of pride in. I spent a lot of time in there. You know, basically 5 days a week minimum, all off season, just working with like all my friends. And so the fact that I get to bring my teammates out here, some guys I've been teammates with for a long time, and just kind of show them how I do things, have them on the property. Chef made them, like, we had barbecue pulled pork, barbecue chicken sandwiches, super tasty. So the boys were well fed, and just an overall great experience. I like showing guys what, you know, a little bit of land looks like as opposed to living in a big city.
Yeah, and we were supposed to swing by and experience a cold tub. You have a full setup over there. You have like a
I got spa. I have a sauna, a couple ice tubs, a hot tub, you know, every day for the guys. You know, we do laundry. We do, you know, we got tub shorts. We got towels. AJ, come on down and get in the sauna with your boy.
Do you do loops?
You got loop? Yeah, you got
do
mesh
I do
bags or
loops?
something?
We got mesh bags.
Okay, smart.
That's a great setup.
The loops kind of a situation. At TST,
They're weird.
At TST, the soccer tournament we did this past summer, they were a loop system for your uniform only. In the tournament, we clean it. So, like, you put the jersey, shorts, socks on a loop. We will wash it. We will get it to you before your next game. I was like, that was very nice of them to be able to do that. We had some boys on our team, the arena boys, that hadn't done laundry in a while. So that loop became, I need next Tuesday's shirt, actually, and also some underwear and maybe a pair of jorts in this thing. So some loops were packed, complete. And they, to TST's credit, they said, fucking enough. They opened that.
Not doing this.
We're not doing this. And it was
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I've always been a bad guy myself. The loops, though, very, very efficient. Yeah. Speaking of Nashville good times, D-Butt's got a question for you.
Yeah, how was it celebrating with Bryson DeChambeau after he won U.S. Open down there in Nashville?
Dude, that was just a wild experience. We had it was the third day of Titan U, and all it is we're like at the Vanderbilt for like 2 hours doing like a little pass pro stuff, and then we had this big pool party. We were at a cool house, and we had a couple like food trucks and stuff like that. We're playing drinking games in the pool. They had a chipping green, so like guys are chipping. And then all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, Liv is here, and the Bryson is going to come over with the trophy." And I was like, "Ha, really? That's cool." And so he just showed up. He was such a cool guy. He passed around the trophy to I don't think he expected 40 people to chug beer out of the trophy, but it went around the base of the entire.
That was coffee. That was
table.
apple juice. It wasn't beer. Remember, we had coffee on Friday in Dublin. You were drinking apple juice there. It's all good. Yeah.
It was Bud Light.
What?
And it goes all the way around. And my mom even got it. She goes, "I'm doing this too." My mom, she turned 65 in 2 weeks, and she enjoyed herself as well. I was like, "Mom, good for you. Way to be an absolute stallion."
Hey, Nashville's awesome, huh?
Oh my gosh, I love that place, man. I can't. I'm looking forward to the point of my career where I get to live in Nashville for the entire year, but till the wheels fall off, baby.
Dude, and it feels like it's going to be forever because of how you take care of yourself and how good a shape you are. And it feels like
thank you.
You're in your prime for the last 6 years, it feels like, and it's no stopping. You feel strong, body feel good. Are you same playing weight and everything that you were last year and years in the past?
Yeah, at the end of the last season, because of my injuries, I got down to 214, and I got back up to 242 before the season started. I was pretty pumped about that.
Oh yeah, I saw a graph, that
was a wild one.
A 40-pound swing or something was the meme. Yeah. That's real. That actually happened.
Yeah, that happened. I said because I had surgery, I had a couple, I couldn't do any workouts, and when I don't work out, I lose weight very fast. And so I was 214, and my wife looks at me and she goes, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, I'm not okay."
No, I feel tiny.
Jeez Louise, woman.
Hold on. So protein shakes like DeChambeau. We're doing protein shakes, forced eating.
Oh yeah.
You are full time.
Oh yeah, all the time. Protein shakes, as much food as I possibly can, and as much lifting as I possibly can to just get the body back to what it was, and feeling great now, which is really fun. It feels good going into. Shoot, I'm like 10 days away from playing a football game.
Yeah, real one. One that actually matters.
13.
Yeah.
Monday night
Jets.
Oh yeah, I forgot Jets coming to town Monday night. That's an opener for Monday Night Football, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's gonna be Jets.
It'll be really fun.
Unbelievable.
Gonna be Thursday, Kansas City, Baltimore. Friday, Green Bay, Philly. Saturday is going to be a stacked college football lineup because that's what college football is every week this year. Every week.
Yeah.
Stacked. And then opening Sunday, and then Jets Niner. Let's go, George!
Come on now.
Football's back, baby.
Yes, it is. And you can get a cool hat, helmet.
A football helmet.
Why do you think they said don't wear it? They said that so I do wear
They
it.
said it so people put it
I
on.
think they got
You think they
That
played
was
me there?
smart.
Yeah.
They did.
They got you.
Obviously, people would think you can wear that in the game.
It's like cards.
Hand tat is sweet. Is that new? That hand tat?
Yeah, this is Toon Blue Eyes White Dragon. Trying to show that from Yu-Gi-Oh.
New, right?
Yeah.
That's new?
Yeah, I just got this last. Oh my god, I'm not bad. I'm bad at the camera. There we go.
2 wedding rings, too. Really cool.
I got married twice to Claire. That's nice.
That was beautiful. It was you had a gold one and a diamond one. Literally matches with everything. And then that hand tat is sweet. Sweet hand tats
Thank
look
you.
awesome. You can't
I
not every
like good. I
profession.
like good hand tats. See, this is Hobbs from Calvin and Hobbs. He's
that.
cute and cuddly.
Yeah, he is. Catches footballs. Throws.
I know. Hey, I had one more question for you, Pat.
Yeah.
Are you all really in the WWE game?
Yeah.
That is so sick.
Thank you. Thank you. We're pretty pumped up about it. Not all wrestling fans are as pumped as you were. Yeah.
No, are you kidding me? Like, what a fun opportunity for you guys. Because you put, like, hey, you're there. You put the hours in. You're there all the time. And for you to get all the boys in, too. Like, have you and AJ, like, fought yet in the ring?
Sure. Yeah, certainly. I'm a big gamer.
In the video game. You guys have fought each other?
Yeah, I won, obviously. And AJ tried this flying chin thing on me, but I super kicked it out of nowhere. Yeah, it was a good time. I'm not a gamer, and neither is AJ. So it might have been the worst match in the history of WWE 2K, but it's an honor to be in there. Have you done it? Have you made the Toxic Table Champs yet, George? Maybe take some time and make the Toxic Table Champs out there.
I need to make the time.
You would be, and I know you can't because you're playing football until the wheels fall off, but like, you know it. You were built to be a WWE superstar. You know it. Personality, your love of the business, your ability to kind of physically keep up. You would have been a phenomenal WWE superstar if you did it full time, and I can't wait to see the time in which you are able to kind of dive into it a little bit. Legit.
I'm looking forward to that, and I've already discussed building an extra little indoor facility so I can build a wrestling ring with my wife. So we'll get there at some point.
Okay.
Don't tell the Niners that.
Yeah, we won't. We'll dump that. We'll dump that. We'll dump that.
Quick.
Yeah, cut that. That's what I used to say in the receiver when I knew I was mic'd up and I said something. I was like, just cut that. Don't.
Yeah. The cutting room, did you see it before it was released? Did you know what was going out before everybody else or no?
They sent us like highlights of all the things that we like were looking at and stuff like that. But no, it was a lot of it was a live reaction.
All right. Well, let's get out of here, shall we?
Yep.
Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change their life. We're in this thing together. Team on me. Come on, George. Team on 3. George, anything to say to the team?
Hey, you guys have a wonderful day. Be your best selves and destroy the rest of the week.
Team on 3. 1, 2, 3. Team. Goodbye.